Hello there, and welcome to Real Talk with Angry Soccer Mom. I'm excited to be back on, and I want to introduce the co-host today is my friend Jordan.
How's it going?
Thanks for being here, my sweet friend.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I'm thrilled that you could get on. Boy, all those, the trial, the Chauvin trial, and all that was keeping, I kept having to put off our session.
There's a lot going on in the world, a lot still going on,
Too much.
Yeah.
Well, the live show discussion topics are normally anything that you feel is newsworthy about racism, bigotry, inequality, and corruption in America. But today we are doing a special program on racism in the workplace. And hello, Jamie. Thanks for being here. I don't know if you can see the comments, but my friend Jamie just jumped on. Welcome, welcome. And so normally the show is meant to, and it still is today, to be an opportunity for viewers to speak their mind and to serve as an educational tool in cultural competency with a focus on learning our real racial history and the truth about systemic racism in the United States. But today, since we have a guest, we have a different format, and he is going to tell his story in a little while, and hopefully that will help those who maybe don't have people to talk to or don't have folks that are going through this to understand, or maybe they don't have any Black or brown friends who are really, really close friends to know what's happening. But this is every day, this kind of stuff. This is every day to real people. It's the added burden. Doesn't mean that, hello, Jose, nice to have you. Doesn't mean your life is perfect. It doesn't mean if you're white, it doesn't mean you're having a great old time. It doesn't mean you're rich, but it means that the color of your skin is not something that you have to constantly be harassed, hassled, and discriminated over. So on that lovely note, please jump in and ask any questions you wish. I wanted to do some quick, boring announcements. I want to thank everybody as usual for sending me personal messages. Hello, GETV. Welcome. Thanks for being here. If you ever want to say hi or send me, which I really would be very happy since I can't keep up, if you don't mind sending me the latest, most insane, breaking news on anti-racism, bigotry, corruption, and inequality in America, I will be very, very forever in your debt because I can't keep up with this. I thought once he left, it would be easier, but it's not. Let me see. I have put off having, sadly, when having the book club that I've been doing because having a little trouble getting my panelists back. So I will announce when chapter 3 is going to come up, and that's on Sundays at 9. But I'm still doing the Wednesday show, and I'm thrilled for anyone who's here. So I'm going to give the number to call, except before that, we're going to do a few things, and I'll be taking calls after Jordan tells his story. Systemic racism, obviously exists in every area of life in America. But in a society where capitalism is not just some sort of economic system, but more of a lifestyle, racism in the workplace is rampant. Before my guest tells his story, I just wanted to, this week, I put up a video, the one I sent you, Jordan, about a lady who pretty much decided that she was boss and saw somebody in Berkeley driving by who she thought he was speeding. He was actually at work. And she ended up taking it upon herself to attack him, get into his truck, force him to stop, she and her boyfriend. You can see it on my YouTube channel. It was, I don't know, arrogance, ignorance, and entitlement, like all on steroids combined times 1,000. I don't even know what to say. I've never seen anything like that. It was absolutely out of control. But this happens every day. This happens all the time. We're just, we got videos now and whatnot, but people deal with this all the time. Sure, it's illegal to be, discriminate against a person because of the color of their skin. Sure. But what are you going to do about it? Because you see, attorneys cost a lot and litigation costs a lot and you need your job. And I mean, think of all those things. So this is a little crazy stuff's going on. Then I came across, just as I was prepping for the show, Carrie Back, welcome. And Eugene, welcome.
Hey, how's it going, Carrie Back?
Yay. Thanks for being here, you guys. I'll shut up soon, I promise, because I want Jordan to do the talking. But I saw this article that came out. I was just sharing it with Jordan, May 3rd, just this past week. Ramses, welcome. Welcome. Just this week. And it was a follow-up story on a man who was enslaved. And I do not use this word lightly. I don't use this word lightly. The title of the article is "Enslaved Black Man should receive more than $500,000," and I absolutely agree. I want to read it really quickly just to get to the feel of this. It's in the newspaper. You can look it up. This is, I cannot think of anything more heinous. Well, I'm sure I could, but I won't. A Black man who was enslaved by a restaurant manager in 2019, all the way to 2014. Should have been paid more money after his captors pleaded guilty, according to South Carolina's appeals court. In 2019, John Jack Christopher Smith was awarded $272,952.96 in restitution. Sorry, not enough. I'm just saying. Representing minimum wage and overtime that he was not rightfully paid while working at this J&J cafeteria in South Carolina. Smith, who has he's developmentally disabled. Okay. The man is disabled. And this man and his family took this man advantage of him and enslaved him. He has an IQ of around 70. He was forced to work more than 100 hours per week without pay by a man named Bobby Edwards, who pleaded guilty, who was the manager. Smith worked at the restaurant since 1990, but when Edwards took over, he began taking advantage of Smith, forcing him to work. Edwards elected this forced labor by he effectively used him as forced labor by taking advantage of his intellectual disability and keeping him isolated from the guy. Had a family that cared about him, but they kept him isolated, obviously, because they were doing crimes. So, I mean, this is just a terrible, terrible thing. And this came up this week, even though it's an old case, because they're trying to get this man more money. And honestly, I can't think of a limit to the amount. I mean, this is just a horrible thing. And before Jordan tells what's going on with him and his, what I call a success story, because, oh my God, you really went through it. A lot of us white folks think, oh, racism at work is like, somebody saying the N-word. Okay, well, that is pretty bad. But it's so much more than that on so many levels. The man who was driving in the video I talked to you about, he's driving his truck, delivering, he's working. And some lady and her boyfriend decide that, that it's their right, they're entitled to stop him. And by the way, the lady went to jail. She was arrested, thank goodness, and in Berkeley. And then there's this man, my God. I mean, it comes in every form. And I'm guessing it's most often just allowed to happen. And it's the burden is put on the Black or brown or indigenous person, and not the business, not the owners, not the people who are doing the crime, because you got to have, an attorney, and it's costly, and you know the story. So, and on that lovely note, Jordan, see, I do shut up sometimes. Thank you so much, not often. Thank you so much for being here. And after Jordan tells us what's going on and we chat, and you can absolutely ask him questions of any sort, I'm sure. He's my wonderful friend, totally open. And he will probably have to take up maybe a little bit early, depending, because I'll be taking phone calls from anybody who wants to call in. And then we'll call it a night, because I want to hear your stories. Your stories need to be heard. People need to know that this systemic racism isn't just some thing out there that's non-tangible. This happens to my friends all the time. I hear the same stories from people who don't know each other, different places, and they're always the same thing: white supremacy, every time. So I swear I'm going to put a sock in it.
No, you're good. You're good.
Tell us, tell us. Um,
All
can you
right.
start at the beginning? And
Yeah. All right. So for those who are new or haven't seen the videos or anything like that, again, my name is Jordan. We've done some videos in the past before. It's been a while just because I've been dealing with the whole work situation, trying to get out. I did get out. I want to say March, end of March. Yeah, end of March, I got out finally. Very happy about that. But throughout my time being up here, because I live in Maine, I've dealt with all sorts of racism. Now, I lived in New Jersey, and then I was in Pennsylvania. Never dealt with any of that kind of stuff ever before. They were more diverse, but at the same time, that's no excuse. I think it's wrong, regardless of where you live. You shouldn't have to deal with that. So I moved up to Maine, I want to say, what, 2015. Yeah, 2015, I moved up to Maine, got a job at a place where I unload for, it's like a food distributor or something like that. And everything was fine. There's nothing really too crazy until one day, to kind of explain real quick. I don't want to take too long explaining this part. So there's the main company. So like let's pick Walmart for example. There's Walmart employees, then there's like third party vendors, aka like the truck drivers, and then let's pretend Walmart outsources other positions. Let's say they outsource cashier and other positions asides like the pharmacists, the floor managers, whatever they want to call them. So basically, I was one of the people that was outsourced and I was helping to unload their trucks and stuff. So I go into the break room, like just like any other old time. And there was the guy that worked for the main company, and then there was like a third party vendor driver guy. So I'm in there just doing my thing, let's make a deals on all that. The third party vendor guy, I've seen him numerous times, never had an issue with him ever. And then he looks at the first party guy, the guy that works for the main company, and he starts laughing as he's looking at me. He goes, "You want to know what he looks like?" And then he's doing the lip thing. He's like the guy from Forrest Gump. And I'm just like, what? What the heck is this guy talking about? So I just leave
making
because
fun of
my
you.
break time, yeah.
He's making fun
So
of
I just leave because my break time was over anyway. I was just like questioning, like, what the heck is he talking about? Why is he making fun of my traits? Like that's, we have bigger lips. That's just our traits. Like I don't know what's so funny about that. So I leave, and then the guy, his name was Doug, the guy that works for the company. He goes, "Oh, Jordan, I'm so sorry about that. I didn't know he was going with that, blah blah blah." I'm like, it's all right. Now you might think, oh well, there are quote unquote some nice white people, which I agree there are. Now this is what made me question this guy. So I don't know what time period it was, but it was sometime within that same year or whatever, where Morgan Freeman did his whole, guys, if we stop talking about slavery slash racism, then it'll all go away. And I'm just like shaking my head, like, what the hell is this guy talking about? Like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. So the guy who was white, Doug, he comes up to me and says, "Hey, I really agree with what Morgan Freeman said. You should check it out." Now, because I was working, you can't really use your cell phone. I was like, what the heck did he say? I gotta look this up. So I go home and look it up, and that's what Morgan Freeman said. And I'm just like, wow, really?
He's the
So
go-to
that
guy. He's what all white people go to. It's pathetic.
Yeah, so he's in denial. So basically, what Doug did was he hit the. If you guys have keyboards, you're familiar with the keyboard. Doug just hit the escape button. Anytime some confrontation comes up and it deals with race, that's how a lot of white people are. Unfortunately, they hit the escape button rather than trying to control alt delete and try to find the solution, whatever the problem is, whatever is freezing up the progress of people not being crazy or whatever. But yeah, I was like, what the heck is he talking about? So that was like the very first time I really dealt with racism up here. But
That's what I
I
wanted to.
still was like 50-50. I'm like, well, that was kind of racist, but I never really dealt with anything like that before. So like, kind of like whatever. Like maybe that's it. Maybe it's just the one guy.
That's what I wanted to talk to
So
you about. Is like, can we back up for a second? I hate to jump in, but you had never really. You were, because you told me a lot. That was kind of like, what was your attitude? I mean, have you had racist encounters like that before, or
never, never.
before you moved?
No. like I said, even though the areas I was in before were more diverse, again, that's not an excuse.
Right.
Like there, people always have an excuse for racism. Like there is no excuse. It's not right. It's wrong. You need to call it out. And if you don't, I'm sorry, hate to be the one. You're part of the problem. If you're not part of the solution, you are definitely part of the problem.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
overall, like I said, I've never dealt with that in my life. Period. Whether I was
You're like,
working or not. Yeah, I'm just like, what the heck is he talking about? Like, wow, that's kind of messed up. So I ended up leaving that job because, it wasn't that great anyway. It wasn't even because of the guy, it was just a lot of other things. Like, but getting off of that, because that's not important.
no, but that was your
Two,
first like
two,
encounter.
yeah, yeah. So 2 jobs later, now I'm working at this place that I no longer work at, thank God. But basically, I worked at a place where we delivered like oxygen, DME, if anyone's familiar with the hospital terms, it's durable medical equipment, HME, home medical equipment like wheelchairs, uh, commodes, hospital bed, basically all the health-based stuff like that to help patients out. That's the kind of company I used to work for before. I just, in short, I call it a DME company. It was me. There was a lot of other people there. They were white, and then there was one other black person. We got real cool. We're still very cool. We still talk to this day. I'm very grateful for that part, but the rest of it, I'm not grateful for. So I got trained by basically every driver there. There was 4 of the drivers at the time, and as a supervisor, no good guy. He basically was like lazy. He never really wanted to teach you, just point the finger when you didn't do something right. There was another guy who was really cool. He actually understood the whole idea of racism. He says, I've been all over the country, and I've seen black people, even Hispanic people, all that, and you know what they do? They work, they mind their own business, they work really hard and so on. I'm like, thank you, like you get it. He's like, yeah, I'm just warning you, there's a lot of ignorant, stupid white people here. That's exactly what he said. I'm like, all right, cool. The other guy, I don't even want to get into it. And then the black guy, he was like, yeah, just be careful of this, that, and that. I'm like, all right, like not really racism, but, just stuff in general, like dealing with patients and stuff. So my very first Friday there, this is my second encounter. So if you're paying attention, write notes, encounter number 2, racism. We
Encounter.
go my first Friday, first full week, if I'm not mistaken. We go to this guy's house. Now, one of the things we do versus the competitors when I used to work there was the competitors, they'll usually drop stuff off and they leave. They don't teach you how to do anything or whatever. That was the specialty of the company I was with. We actually educated our patients step by step, take your time, so on and so forth. So he goes, hey, this is Jordan. He's going to be the new driver, blah, blah, blah. Can we come in? The guy goes, yeah. First question out of this guy's mouth, because we're supposed to be there to explain how to use his oxygen machine or something like that. He goes, what country are you guys from? We look at each other like, what the hell? What?
That's obnoxious.
So his sisters, though, I don't know what they were. I don't care at this point in time. They have their corny backup story. Well, we went to the hospital once and we saw this black guy. He's from South Africa. And did you know it wasn't hot in South Africa? Like all sorts of just corny stuff. I'm like, all right, whatever. On to the next thing, because we're still supposed to be explaining this machine. Guy immediately jumps in. He goes, are you brothers? I'm like, okay, I'm done. Clearly,
Yeah, you're
this
all
guy,
related.
yeah,
You're all related.
clearly this guy, like, there is no way in hell. This is why when white people say, well, maybe it's no, stop excusing these people. It is what it is. You don't
Don't
want
be an
to
apologist.
hear, yeah, you don't want to
Apologize.
hear what the actual truth is. You want to deflect. That way, you don't have to feel guilty about the fact you know damn well what it is.
So you're in their
So
house. You're in
yeah,
this person's
yeah,
house.
that's the thing. We were go in. This is pre-COVID, by the
You
way,
want to
just
make,
to let
yeah.
people know. This was in 2018. So pre-COVID, no masks, no social distancing. Everything was quote unquote normal, whatever you want to call that anymore. But yeah, so that was my second encounter. Now, fast forward a bit. I would go to places. These are just basic examples. I would go to a place. Hey, how's it going? I'd have like an order for tubing, the nasal cannulas, tanks, whatever it is that they need. Everything would be at the time before we got on the tablets. Everything would be on a piece of paper. It'd have their name, their number, all that stuff. And one of the times I had to call because the guy, I guess somebody messed up, and usually when in medical field for this job specifically, if someone messes up, you can't just like scribble something out or whatever. Usually you have to put a line through it. Like if it's a date and it has to go through Medicare and all that stuff, you put a line through it. You have to have the patient initial and date next to it to show
Official
that,
paperwork. It's very
yes, to
official. Yeah.
show that it was legally done in front of them, because it's illegal to make changes once it leaves the patient's house. Like if you have a documentation, something like that, you can't do that. So I called the guy to make sure he was going to be home, because think about it. Why would someone be home all the time, 24 hours a day, just in case you, the driver, needs to see them, unless like it's something that they ordered, then obviously, yeah, they should be home most of the day to receive the order. So I call, hey, my name is Jordan. I'm just calling to see if I could come by. Looks like someone made a mistake. We just wanted to see if you could sign some corrections. Like that was it. No money's owed or anything like that. What? Well, he's going into all this stuff. I was like, sir, it's okay. If you don't have time or you don't want to do it, that's fine. We'll come back a different time. It's like,
You
no,
need a
it's okay.
signature, basically, a signature.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Because if we make a correction or something, we have to have the
Okay.
patient
I got
signal,
you.
yeah, signature and all that. So
Yeah. Okay.
basically, he said something and then like hangs up on me. I'm like, okay, off to a great start. I'm like, cool. Head over to the guy's house. The guy sees me. Hey, how's it going? He goes, you were here before. Here we go again. All right, going for that ride, Talon Steel Force, whatever ride you want to call this horrible ride. He goes, yeah, you were here. You went up my stairs, blah, blah. Sir, I have never been here in my life.
My
So he's
God,
getting
what does
all
that look
upset.
like?
Yeah. So he's getting all upset and everything. I'm like, all right, well, here's the paper. And as he's signing, I swear on my life, this is what the guy says. He goes, where's that nice Negro? Yeah, that's what he said to me. I'm like, wow. This guy literally took me back to like the 40s or 50s or something like that. I'm like, damn, like that's messed up. Like,
Maybe
really?
further.
Yeah.
Damn.
So that was another story. Trying to think what else. And then there was just here and there, people would mix me up with the other guy. Yeah, you were here. They get into fights with us. Yeah, you were here. You were just here. Ma'am, I've never been here in my life. Like, why do you guys all say the same damn thing? You were here before. No, I wasn't. Oh, well, some
I
guy
think
looked
I
like
know.
you. Yeah.
I
So
know. Oh, go
what's
ahead.
up?
I was
You're
gonna
no,
say
no, no. You're saying?
the one story that you have to tell. This was like everything's. I mean, people weren't walking up and like planting a cross in front of them, setting on fire. But that's not how they do it nowadays. If you're a white person watching, I'm just saying that's old school. Now
Yeah.
everything's all covert. Remember, and you don't have to tell it if you want to. But this was one that really just made me really mad. Actually, you told me a long time ago. The guy with the gun rack.
Oh yeah, so I'll get into that real quick because, like I said, there's many stories. I can keep people here all day, but
Oh, that
I'm
was
not
just
trying to
like
do that.
the
So this was, I want to say, 2 months ago, something like that. Basically, when there was still snow, so around February, beginning of March, something like that. Because in Maine, when it snows, it snows. But anyway, I go to this guy's house. Now, one of the things they had us do, because it was a medical-based thing and all that, they would have us to be responsible for checking the people's oxygen machines. If people are familiar, you work in a hospital, they're called concentrators. So we have to do something called a concentrator check, something that's done a couple of times a year to make sure it's putting out enough oxygen that it's good, because also some people, they're not the brightest, unfortunately. I understand some people it's more of a mental thing, and I'm not knocking anyone for that. Some people, I'm sorry, some people are just flat out not very bright. I'm just going to leave it at that. I try to be as nice as I
fair.
can be, but
That's
it is
fair.
what it is. Yes. So I went to do this guy's concentrator check. I've never been there before. I'm like, oh, I better prepare myself, because we know what happened a few years ago, and that year and then this year and so on. It's always something when I don't ever go to someone's house and it's like the first time. I got to prepare myself mentally. What's he going to say, ask, so on and so forth. So I go in, I'm checking the machine and stuff, asking them questions. I always ask, well, how often do you change your tubing? Do you have this? Do you have this? Like, is there anything else you need? He's like, yeah, I need this one thing. So I go out to my truck, I grab like a new filter, some tubing, so on and so forth. And I like to just know my surroundings, just in general, in case something goes down and I have to answer some questions. I'll know like what was going on around me, just in general. That's just how I am. But anyway, I'm explaining this to you for a very specific reason.
Mhm.
So I'm looking around the room as I'm checking the machine, because sometimes it takes a bit for the tester, the oximeter, in layman's terms, is like something that can check how much oxygen is being put out, like in percentage. So I'm looking around his room, and he had like a gun rack. He goes, "Oh, is that okay with you?" I'm like, "What?" He points to like his gun rack and stuff. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm fine with that." I didn't know why he was asking that. Like me personally, I don't care. He goes, "Well, yeah, I keep it on me at all times just in case, someone that I don't know or something like that comes around me or near my house or something." I'm like, okay.
Like hint,
Like
hint.
why? Yeah, like why does he have to tell me that? Like why else would someone have a gun? But why do you have to tell me specifically that? I'm just like,
Point it out to you.
so a
And
lot of the stuff, if you've been keeping up, it's like a lot of microaggressions, and some people don't realize exactly how that in itself is racist. You don't have to. Some people think that to be racist, it has to be something very specific, like you have to call someone an N-word or whatever derogative term or based on your race. That's not true. That's one of the major ways that you can be
it's an
point
obvious way,
unquote,
right?
yeah, that quote unquote
That
racist.
qualifies, but
But yeah,
it's
but
extremely rare, actually. And in all, I mean,
mhm,
in the everything's covert nowadays. It's
yes,
covert,
oh yeah.
but
'Cause
it's there.
yeah, because people realize that if you come out and say those things, you're going to get what people call nowadays cancel, and they don't like that because that affects their money and stuff like that. So, behind the scenes, behind closed doors, they'll say their craziness. Then they slip up every once in a while, like what they did with me.
Mhm.
So, going into some of the other stories.
They just want to have deniability that, like, what? You mean
Yes.
what? Huh? Oh, yeah. But it's all the same. Yeah. It's
So one of the major ones where I was just like, okay, I'm done. It was me and the supervisor. The supervisor, I'm sorry, I don't really care if the person's watching or not. I'm telling the damn truth about you. It was me and him. We had to do what was known as a bariatric bed setup. So for people that don't know what that is, a bariatric meaning is for someone that's of a bigger size. So bariatric wheelchair, bigger person, bariatric bed, so on and so forth. Ours was supposed to be a setup for a bariatric bed, like a bariatric hospital bed. It's supposed to have electric functionality and all that stuff.
mhm.
You need two people because the parts are way too heavy. So we go in, we set them up, we do all that stuff, and then the supervisor goes, "Yeah, when we're done setting up this bed, you can leave because one person has to stay to do the paperwork. It could take a little bit depending on if the person asks a lot of questions or they have a hard time signing or whatever it is. At least one person has to be there." So I'm like, "Are you sure?" He goes, "Yeah." Now I'm telling you this for a reason. There was nothing wrong to happen at that moment in time, but I'm explaining it to you for the coming part.
You're giving
So
us the
when's a
spiel. Yeah.
Yes. So what ends up happening is I get a ticket that says a ticket basically just tells you what you have to do at the patient's house, who it's for, so on and so forth. So it says check bed. Now at that time I hadn't even been at the job for a whole year, so I was still fresh. I still didn't know a lot of different things. So I'm like, oh man, hopefully it's not too bad. So I go to the guy's house. All right, sir, what's going on? He goes, well, it'll go up or whatever, but it won't go down. That's weird. Then he's mentioning to me how his son went underneath the bed and did some stuff. What the hell is he doing underneath the bed? All right, let's check it out.
So he's
So
trying to mess with it a little bit, like the son was trying to try to mess
yeah,
with it.
because
Yeah.
there's all sorts of wiring and stuff. And I always tell people, no matter what you do, don't touch anything under there. Because if you mess something up, then it's not going to work
Right.
properly, like for the tilt functionality and so on. So I go underneath the bed. By the way, this guy's house is very disgusting. So I'm messing with all the stuff. I'm putting it in, and I'm like, all right, cool. Here's the test. So I get the remote. It will go up. Great, perfect. I was real excited about that. Press the down arrow. Nothing. So now he's in like a slightly awkward position. He's all pissed off. I'm
So
like,
he's
all
in the
right.
bed.
Yeah,
He's
he's
actually
still in the bed
he's still
because,
in the bed.
yeah,
Okay.
yep.
Gotcha.
So I was like, sir, I will be right back. I'm going to make some calls real quick. I literally called every single person that was there in the office that day. I called and talked to the one driver who was pretty, I'm sorry to say, I'm going to call it as it is once again, who was useless. He didn't do anything. I talked to the one girl because maybe she does know something, but she never really had a
So you
route or
needed
anything like that.
assistance. Like you
Yeah,
needed
I
assistance.
talked to her. I talked to my one friend that I'm really good with. He didn't really seem to know. So I called the last person that should know. I called the supervisor. I'm like, all right, Dave, you got to come down. Here's Dave's response. I'm like, Dave, you have to come down. I started crying and complaining and stuff. I'm like, this guy's very irate. Can you please come down and help him out? So he goes, all right, whatever. So I called the office to make sure he comes down because I'm like, we got to take care of this guy. He's all pissed off.
Like he's
So
stuck in a weird position, kind of like.
yes, yes. And I'm like, it's sad that you have to fight with your supervisor to do his job. But anyway,
Because you want to do a good job. Yeah.
so I called the office back, let the girl know that was still there at the time, and then I go back into the house. Told the guy, all right, sir, so here's what's going to happen. I called everyone, ended up getting a hold of my supervisor, so he's going to come down and assist you. All my life, this is what this guy says to me. Goes, all right, okay, good. You better not be lying because if you're lying to me, there's not that many black people in Maine, so it's not going to be hard to find you if you're lying to me. And I'm just like staring. I'm like, what? He goes,
What?
well, I'm not. It was a joke. I'm not racist. He goes, my dad, blah blah blah. Goes into, every single time someone's racist, they come up with these cornball ass stories and so on and so forth.
Your best friend's aunts, uncles, sisters,
Yeah,
brother, cousin is.
my dad was racist, and if he said this and that, blah blah blah, I'll kick him out of the house. I said, sir, if you have any other questions, call the office. Left that place. I'm like, I will never go back there again.
So he basically like
So
threatened.
basically, because I had to get on my back to get on his disgusting ass floor, check out the bed, do all this stuff, and doing everything in my power to help him. Didn't curse him out, didn't say anything crazy to him
You
at
were
all.
professional. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the way I want people to see this. This is how when you're black, if you're white, you're not going to understand. So let me explain it to you as your black person, your mentor. When you're black in this country, this is how you get treated. You can do anything. You can be walking down the road, selling water, as we've seen a couple of years ago, being in a pool, driving, as you've seen on the video she posted on her YouTube, doing your
Existing.
job,
Just existing.
being in your own house, Botham John. You can be doing anything in this country. Like, I know this sounds crazy, but like it's the truth. And you will always have some sort of racist come out of the woodwork and attack you just for existing. Literally, that's it. That was the problem. You existed. It's a problem with them. They have some sort of glitch going on in their head. I don't know what's
Your
going on. I don't
mere
care.
existence is a threat.
Yeah, it's a problem to these races. So, they get very butthurt and upset about that. So another story was I was coming back from the coast because the office that I used to work at, we covered a large portion of the state. We were in central Maine and then we did the coast, not too far from the Canadian border. The one place we went to was about maybe an hour and a half from the Canadian border. So we do all sorts of places basically. So I was coming from the coast. I get a call saying they're adding some stuff to me because I was the guy that was on call. So whenever you're on call, you have to do all the extra stuff that no one else would be able to due to the fact it would take more time. So they just give it to whoever's on call. I'm like, hey, whatever. Come back to the office, get all the stuff I need. They told me, just to let you know, there is a disabled lady. Like she literally like can't get up by herself, all that. I'm like, okay, I have no problem with that. They're like, just go in. I had to think about that. No, I'm not just going at anyone's house. I seen what they said to me a couple years ago, last year, a few months ago, a few weeks ago. No, that ain't happening.
It sounds so
So
stressful and horrible.
it is, but that's the thing I want people to understand. Some people think it's just a simple, you have an encounter and that's it, or you're supposed to suck it up. Wrong. That carries on to your mental, your spiritual, everything you can think of for a long time. It damages you because you can't just do your job. You have to do your job, deal with that stress, and then there's what I like to call the second or third circle, which some other people don't have because they're not black or whatever.
Mhm.
And that's the racism part of it. Is this person racist? Are they going to say something crazy to me? And then it adds even more stress on top of the stress you have just for working or
Already
the stuff
stressful,
at
not just
home.
working, right?
Yeah, it's just unnecessary stuff. So where was I going with this? Trying to
So the
think.
disabled lady that
Yeah,
was.
the disabled lady. Yeah, sorry. See that this is even trying to explain my own story is very stressful just because it's just like there's so much that goes into it. It's very frustrating. But
Your mind probably
so
wants to keep you out of it and not.
yeah. So basically, I get to the house and I knock because anyone that tells me just come on in, hell no, that's not happening. So I knock, I get a response. When I hear come in, which I did, I come on in. So I'm like, hey, I'm from such and such company. What's going on? My machine isn't working. And I tried to get her to say, like, okay, well, what's not working about it that's supposed to be working? And she doesn't really know. So I'm like, all right. So awkwardly enough, once again, you start to see more similarities between these people.
Mhm.
Nasty house, and just awkward situation or whatever, like what you have to do with your job. Like it's in the bathroom. That's as awkward as it gets. So I
Right,
go in
yeah,
the
the
bathroom.
private areas of their house, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not
So
being there.
I go to the bathroom where the machine was, the oxygen machine, and I get, so where are you from? Now I told her the location of my job. I didn't say that's where the job was. I just told her that town. Apparently that wasn't good enough for her. So she goes, "No, where are you from?" And you hear the record breaking noise. That's went off in my head. I come out the bathroom like, "Excuse me? Like, I'm sorry?" She goes, "Yeah, I want to know where you are from. Ma'am, is there any reason why you're asking this question?" She goes, "I'm just curious. I'm just being nosy." She goes, "I've never seen someone of your complexion doing this job." I'm like, why is it that every time I go to one of these people's houses,
They're
they're
freak.
like, it's just something just triggers in their head. It's got to act stupid. And it's like, let's just say some stuff to make them feel even more alienated from the rest of the white human beings, the superior race, I guess, in some
Mhm.
people's heads. But I'm like, "Ma'am, we do everything. Like, I don't know why it
We
is
do
that
everything.
you, yeah, like, I don't know why this is amazing to you. I know y'all seen Let's Make a Deal with Wayne Brady because I've walked into people's houses that are white up here at the job, and I've seen them watching that. So I know y'all seen some black people. I know y'all know about Michael Jordan, LeBron, all these black people. So
They've
cut it
never
out.
been in your
It's
house
just,
before. That's the
yes, it's just ignorance. Like, I'm sorry, like,
it's crazy.
but to continue. So I get her off of that by saying, "All right, so do you need any supplies? This, that, and that, and the third?" She goes, "Yeah, I don't have any of that." Okay, I'll be right back. Went to the van, got her all that stuff, got her all hooked up, got a different machine that's working properly, all that stuff. And I'm like, "All right, cool. So you're all set. If you ever have any questions, give us a call. If it ever goes down, we have a 24-hour call service. Don't feel bad about calling us. Just call us, let us know. That way we can get to you in a timely manner and take care of your problems, stuff like that." She goes, "All right, well, thank you very much." She goes, "I really appreciate your help," and so on and so forth. She goes, "If you're ever in the area and you need to pee," she goes, "you can come here." She goes, "Don't worry, I won't shoot you." This is literally what this
Oh
white woman
my.
that mind you, that was disabled said to me. I'm like, why? Why would you say that to me? Like, I know what that means, but I'm like, why the hell would somebody like that say that to me? Like, that is,
They can't help it.
I didn't even know what to
They
say. Like,
can't stop
I just
themselves.
left.
They can't stop
Uh,
themselves. It's just they
like,
can't stop.
it already got really weird with the fact that she's talking about you can come here and pee. Wait, time out. Whoa, whoa, whoa. I can go anywhere. I can go to a gas station and go and use the restroom. Why the hell am I gonna come to your house and do that? Like, what the hell is going on? So that was already weird. And then the part, "I'm not gonna shoot you."
I'm
I'm
not.
like,
Oh, gee, thanks.
yeah, now I definitely won't come to this place because you're talking about I'm not gonna shoot you. So you were thinking
That's
about it? Were you thinking about it when I came in the damn door? All right, well, I guess I won't be making a stay here anytime soon. Like,
it's just the whole thing is
Jesus.
just so wrong. It's just so. This is what you deal with at your job. I gotta give you a lot of credit on so many levels. And this is something, if you don't mind me just jumping in, I can't keep my mouth shut. A lot of people who are white expect you to play nice with them and to, make them feel like, basically make sure they're okay and that they're comfortable. And
Yeah.
you do not owe them a thing. That's
Oh,
on
I know I
them.
don't.
And I
I've
love
never
that
felt that way
you're not going to
ever.
be like, oh,
Yeah.
I love that. I freaking love that because I have so many of my friends just acquiesce. I mean, obviously, I would never criticize someone. You got to do what you got to do, but
Yeah.
it just kills me because that's not fair. This is a white problem,
Yeah.
and it
I'm
should
very unapologetic about myself. That's why I feel like
not.
some people aren't going to be able to take me because they're like, "Man, why is this guy always talking about race?" I'm like, well, maybe if you were black and you dealt with this crap, maybe you get fed up too, and maybe you wouldn't hold back. But you're not black, so take a seat and listen and shut
Listen
up.
and learn.
That's how I feel. Like I said, I'm very unapologetic.
I
I'm
love
not
that.
holding back because it's very frustrating. And then the thing was, so to add insult to injury. So I get back after doing the other two stops. One was go to a nursing home, drop off something. I'm like, whatever. Another was set up or something like that for some lady. That went okay. Get back to the office because you can take the van home. I wasn't doing that because if something were to happen, they're going to blame me. So I get back to the office and I tell my boss, the manager, that like what happened. So I told her everything about the, oh, I've never seen someone of a complexion, all the way up to, don't worry, I won't shoot you and all that, like the peeing thing. And she just starts laughing. I'm like,
She just
wow.
laughed at you.
Yeah. And to give people
Bitch.
perspective about her, more information,
That's like a
she
bitch.
was white. So you can only imagine she don't give a damn. As long as I come back, do my job and shut up or whatever, she's fine with whatever the hell people will say to me and so on and so forth. It's just
She finds this
absolutely
amusing.
ridiculous.
She finds this kind of thing amusing.
Yeah. She literally just started laughing. I'm like, wow, okay. Well, I see what side of the fence you're on. You're on team white supremacy. Good to know. So I'll never ever go to her about the stuff I deal with ever. And then there was the one time I'm just like, whoa, I just don't know why people say this craziness to me. She goes, they're just bullies. So we're gonna call racist people. Sorry, I can't even talk. We're gonna call racist people bullies. Really? We're not gonna call them what they actually are. See, this is what I want to explain to folks in here that are white. Pay attention. You're in class right now. You don't sit there and tell someone that's like someone went through rape. You're not going to say, well, he was just horny. So, no, they're rapists. They're a sexual assault person. Like, that's wrong. Like, we always call that out. If someone's a pedophile, they get called a pedophile. Why is it that when it comes to that R word, some white people just cringe. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't go there, Jordan. Oh, you got to calm down with that word, man. You're firing off with that R word. Come on. We don't like to talk about that. You bring up racism, they just can't say that damn
You
word.
can't
Like,
say
I
it.
don't get it. You can say anything else, a killer, a murderer, a thief, a thug, whatever you want to call somebody that actually does exist as a term. But when it comes to someone being a racist, now all of a sudden problems, troubles, and issues. We got to have a debate. Guys, well, we can't just call people racist.
It's all
That's
about us
wrong.
all of a sudden.
That's wrong,
All about
guys.
white folks.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I don't even know. But then it was like I went to another place and this guy I work with once again that was black. We always talked and everything. I go to this lady's house. It was supposed to be me bringing her tanks. Once again, just the most basic, boring thing. Nothing crazy out of the ordinary on my end. I get there. I'm just trying to make sure everything's right because sometimes people in the office they messed up orders or maybe they didn't hear the person properly or maybe it was the patient and then I'm just trying to confirm with them whatever it is that they order, if it's what they need, want, etc. So I get in there, I'm talking to her, and I'm making sure she has her tanks. I hook it up for her, do all that stuff. And she gets mad about something like that. And it's like, oh, I've seen you before. You delivered my, what did she say, rollator. No, I didn't.
You're
Yeah,
what?
you did.
Sorry, I didn't hear
Or
that.
sorry, the rollator.
Oh, oh, oh.
It's like
That
a
was your first
walker.
time there?
Yeah, it's like a walker, but it has four wheels, and you push on it like that, and it's like a little seat and
Is it
everything,
the
just to
station
kind of
car?
give you. Yes. So
Oh, it's
basically, she's like, you brought me the rollator one time, and I'm like,
like,
no, I didn't. Yeah, you did. It was at such and such address, ma'am. I've never been there for it. Oh well, it must have been that other colored guy. I'm like, well, he has a name. I told her what it was, and I'm just like, what the hell is wrong with these people?
it's
Why
a
is it
black
that
person. They
every
cannot
single
tell what's
time?
going on.
Yeah. So it's just so you can see clearly it's very frustrating because every time I go to someone's house, it's the same old song and dance. Some people, well, maybe it's an age thing. Wrong. Maybe no. Stop excusing these people.
No
When you
excuse.
say stuff like that, you're giving them a scapegoat, something to ride on to make it seem like it's okay. And there's a special reason why they're saying this and doing this and that to you, which is wrong. Stop doing that. So then there was another time, trying to think. There's that, the bed, the lady. This is so many. Oh, so once again, I was on the coast and I get to this lady's house and her son lived with her. And I was just checking the nebulizer. So the nebulizer is something you use to take the liquid style medicines and it turns into a gas once you put it in the neb cup and all that and hook it up to the machine with the tube. Hers was messed up. Now, one of the things that really irked me about people in general was they smoked. And I always said, please do not smoke in the house. Don't smoke near your equipment because you can blow yourself up. And then on top of that, even if the equipment isn't on, you damage the filter that's inside. I can tell because when I go to check the filter, if it looks like moldy brown, golden brown, something like that.
Yeah,
That's
there's
usually
stuff in there.
nicotine caked onto the machine and so on and so forth.
Mhm,
And I'm like, that's no good. Like that's really, really bad.
mhm.
So I'm checking it, and then they start talking like side conversation stuff, as always, like people like to do. And they get to that whole "where are you from" thing. Now, I just want to go on about this real quick. To some
Go for it.
people, someone asking where you're from, that might not be a big deal, but to me, it is because I feel like some people think that maybe you don't belong in a certain area or they haven't seen you before, so they got to ask where you're from. Like,
You're
why do people have to
trespassing. You don't belong
normalize
there.
that? Like,
Mhm.
I'm sorry, but I feel like some people should just mind their damn business. Like now, if we're friends and then you ask that, I have no issue. But if we're not on a friend level at all, and I'm just on a business thing, you don't need to know that because I feel like you're literally trying to gauge me or see where I'm coming from. Like it could be a lot of things, and I just feel like that's really weird. But going
Very
back to the
flattering.
subject, yeah, going back to the subject, she went about the lines of after asking me, and I said New Jersey originally. Oh, well, I thought all people that were like a-holes or whatever. I'm like, wow, gee, thanks. Like, man, she wasn't saying that about me, but saying that in general because I was very helpful for her and all that stuff. And then
You're a
her
nice one.
son, yeah. Oh, don't get me started on that. So then the son steps in and says something along the lines of, "Up here we go again." I like to call this the passcode, basically where a white person props up a black person and they think that this gives them the right or some sort of a key to be able to say certain things just because they know a black person or they're quote unquote friends or they're dating or like whatever little thing you want to use. So he goes, I have some black friends in quotes that were in the military, and he says, yeah, they say to me, and this is why I always take this stuff with a grain of salt because it's coming from a white person. He's like, they say there are two types of black people. You have black people, and then he literally said, then there are ends. He literally said that, not the censored, but he literally said there are ends. I'm
It's like
like, okay,
mother.
let me get the hell out of here. First, you have your mother insulting me. Talking about, I thought all a-holes are from New Jersey. I'm like, well, go screw yourself too. And then him coming and talking about, well, there's black people and then there's ends.
Well, he's going to educate you, Jordan.
Yeah,
He's gonna tell you that
yeah, yeah,
he knows all this.
yeah,
That's terrifying.
yeah.
And you're in their house. God, that's I just I can't. I don't even know how you stay professional and so wonderful and caring because that's
Oh,
just
we'll get to
terrifying.
that because there was one lady I actually told. This was around the time of the George Floyd and all that stuff. Now I understand you're supposed to be professional, but I'm sorry if you're gonna sit there and talk some nonsense to me or something like that. I will basically tell you what it is. Like you're not gonna sit there and spread lies about black people or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure it was that one lady. That's the reason why I quote unquote got written up what
Okay, that's
but
that's a whole
according to
nother
my
story. Right, right, right.
but according to my ex boss, it's not a write up, it's a warning. I'm sorry, but if
Yeah,
anyone tells
tell
you,
everyone what. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, I go to this lady's house. It's always the same stories, right, guys? Her machine was down, and basically, I went in there to see what was going on. It like wasn't working at all, so I swapped it out, and I forgot how we ended up getting to this point. But basically, I was talking about just it's crazy, like what's going on. People are losing their minds, shooting people, doing this, doing
Just right
that.
around George Floyd, the whole.
Yeah, and then it did end up getting to a point where I think I mentioned, oh, the January 6th thing. I was like, the people that did that, they're domestic terrorists and so on and so
Yeah.
forth. Like, I can't believe they stormed the Capitol. They basically put the entire country in danger and blah, 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 blah. And then from there, it got to her talking about what was it? Oh, so we have a group of black people up here called Somalians, and they live in Lewiston.
Hmm.
So unfortunately, because a lot of white people up here are racist, they may not come out and be like, "Hey, f you, you blank," or say something like that. That don't mean they aren't racist because I can hear like based on what they're saying, I'm like, okay, that's you're that kind of person or whatever. Like I'm
Oh,
just not gonna talk to you.
microaggressions is over. There's
Yes,
code.
it's always microaggressions.
Yeah. Please.
So what ends up happening is I was talking to her about that, and then it gets to her talking about, well, not all people are bad and blah 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 blah, but like the Somalians or whatever, I just stay away from them because I don't understand them. And then I corrected. I was like, well, ma'am, you may not understand them, but you can't be like afraid of them or whatever. You just got to talk to them and come to an understanding at some point. But they're not bad people or anything like that. And I'm gonna assume it was her that quote unquote filed a complaint against me, talking about I had a personal matters conversation. See, what I find that's bullcrap about this is I've seen every single person in that damn office have a personal matters conversation. That could be anything from I'm gonna order some Pizza Hut on Friday for my kids to I'm gonna go see Mortal Kombat in 2 days, or that could be anything, or I'm gonna go get a new car when I get out of work. All that stuff is personal. So for the fact that they wrote me up for having a quote unquote personal matters conversation, I already know what that's about. That's white supremacy. So basically, she didn't really say much about it, and I left. I'm like, all right, cool, like whatever. I had a vacation. This was beginning of February this year. I'm like, all right, cool. 5 days off. It was snow and stuff. I'm like, great. I'm glad I don't have to work during this. Get back from my vacation, and what ends up happening is my boss is like, when you're free, can we talk? I'm like, all right. Like, I don't know what she wants to talk about, but cool. Come to the clinician's office. Okay, great. Go in there. It's her and her boss,
Is it
the
the
area.
same boss that laughed at you when you told him
Yeah, yeah.
the stuff that like you're
Yep.
being
So
treated?
so basically my previous manager and then her boss, the area manager, or whatever you want to call him, district area, I don't give a damn. He's an idiot. So
In there.
he's like, all right, hey Jordan, like, hey, can you take a look at this real quick? Okay. Piece of paper, reading it. I'm like, what? And I talked to him like, Doug, this literally doesn't even say what I'm being written up for, like exact to the T. So I don't know if people can relate to this, but if you've ever been written up at a job, they tell you exactly what you did. Hey, you called out too many damn times. This
You're
is a
being
write up.
accused of something.
Yeah,
And
they tell you exactly what it
right.
is that you did, the exact thing to the T. Or,
But how do
oh,
you
well,
correct it otherwise?
yes,
How do you correct it?
exactly,
You
because you're
don't know what
supposed to
you
be
did.
able to know what you did in order to correct your wrong behavior, right? So let's say you worked at a distribution center and you didn't scan something and you missed too many scans. You might get written up for that. Or maybe you didn't wear steel toes. That's a safety violation. You can get written. Basically, they'll always tell you where you go, what you can and can't do, and when you get written up on that piece of paper, it'll tell you exactly what you violated or didn't do that you're supposed to do, etc. So it
So
literally said I had someone supposedly filed a complaint against me about a personal matters conversation. And I'm like, wait a minute, this makes no sense because what did I say? And who was it? They're like, well, we don't want you to retaliate. We know you wouldn't, but we know you're one of the good ones. So, we don't want to tell you just in case. I'm like, that makes no damn sense. So you're saying that you believe me that I wouldn't retaliate, which I wouldn't, because I'm like, that's dumb. I'll go to jail if I did something stupid. But at the same time, you won't tell me exactly. You won't even at least have the audacity to tell me exactly what I said to this person. Because I'm like, that doesn't make sense. How am I supposed to correct myself if you don't tell me exactly what I said? So if I had a conversation with someone and they got mad at me because I said that cheeseburgers, and I don't believe this, I'm just using it as an example. Let's say I think cheeseburgers are disgusting. They're eating it. I'm like, oh my God, that's gross. Like, tell me that that's wrong. Because if it's wrong, why would I want to continue making the
a lot of
same
personal
mistake?
conversations you could have. You need to know what exactly you did wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, do you have a pen? No. He goes, she does. I grab the pen for her, sign it. Is there anything else? Nope. I just leave. I'm like, I'm so sick of this place. Like every single time I bust my ass, I've never called out of this place. I've been late twice. The first time was my fault. It was like the first month in. I overslept. There's a lot of hours and stuff. Hey, it happens. Overslept. I was late by a few minutes. There's some people that were late habitually, but when it's
A
you,
very great employee.
but
Really
when
have
it's
it.
you as the black person, you're expected to do everything 100-fold basically versus everyone else. And then like when it comes to calling out, I've just never called out. So I'm like, I got to get the hell out of this place. I started applying for everything, and the one place I applied to, it took like over a month and a half, something like that, to get to a point where it was like asking for like more information, almost sort of confirming as if I got the job. Like, oh, you to confirm this email so we can do this background check and that and so on and so forth. But it was basically just the fact that throughout my work experience at this job, a lot of the people I would tell them and they would be very dismissive. Like the supervisor's like, man, I've never had anyone say stuff like this to me. Dave, I wonder why. Why would they never say stuff like this to you as the white man? Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if I could jump in for 1 second, for the white folks watching and listening, imagine this happening to you at your job, here, there, everywhere. You never know, and then you go to your boss, and they are absolutely incompetent to help, to even empathize, to understand, to get this, that this is absolutely illegal to put him through this. They're basically incompetent. And then you think, well, maybe they're boss. No, they are too. There's no rules to be a manager or a supervisor, that you have to be culturally competent. In other words, have your head on straight and understand the systemic racism. So basically, they just like leave them for dead. I mean, there's nobody to go to. There's no more higher ups because they're not trained either. They don't know anything. This is what we're dealing with here. So it's illegal, but I mean, before you go on, the thing that hit me when you first told me this, the flag outside the house. Can you speak to that? Because the Confederate flag,
Oh, thanks for
that's
reminding me. Yeah, see,
that's
that's the thing. There's
crazy.
just so many stories.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this
You don't have to come
was
all, but
this was
yeah.
this year. So I go to this house and it was in I forgot what town it was. I think it was like Clinton or something like. But anyway, so I go to this house because once again, these damn concentrator checks happens all the damn time. So what ends up happening is I have to go to this house to check the machine. I guess the lady who I was supposed to check the machine for she wasn't there, but I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just gonna do it anyway because other than that, it's gonna keep flagging it in the system as, hey, you didn't do it. You need to do it at some point, and then they're
Mhm.
gonna question, well, why didn't you do this? So rather than going through that, I was just gonna go there, and if someone's there, ask if I can check it out and leave. So upon arriving at the house, there is a giant like Confederate flag on the front lawn. I'm like, I feel safe. Yeah. All right, let me just
That's like
mosey
terrifying.
on in. Yeah. But
Mhm.
you're just supposed to suck it up and just do your damn job, right? No,
Yeah,
no one
suck it up for
cares.
your
No
life.
one cares about the fact that the Confederate flag is racist, even though some people that are white will say, "Oh, it's a heritage thing, Southern pride." That's like some of the
Well,
stupidest stuff I've ever heard in my life. But
yeah, the heritage and pride is that they were racist.
so because I know where this would lead, unfortunately, so I go in there. I'm like, "Hey, how's it going? I'm from such and such company here checking machine. Is it okay if I come in to check it?" The girl, I guess she's like the patient's daughter. She goes, yeah, she's like probably a little older than me or whatever. So I'm checking the machine out. I asked the questions, about the filter, the tubing, all that stuff, just in case the lady was coming back. And then I forgot how it got to this conversation, but it did end up being about the Confederate flag. And, I think it was because I was like, some people, they're very rude or this or that or just things like that nature. I forgot how it led to that, but then she goes, yeah, a lot of my friends are mad at me about the fact that I have the Confederate flag, and I put my hands up because I already know if you offend the white supremacists, they can call your job and file a complaint against you, and you know where that leads. Because I think this was after the fact that I had already gotten written up. I'm like, nope, not going there because I don't want to hear someone say, well, you were rude. This is your third strike. You're getting suspended or fired. I'm like, oh, great. See, that's what's the beauty of being black. You can be offended, but then, in reality, they tell you to suck it up and just do your job or
You can't be
whatever.
pissed. You can't be angry. You can't be hurt. You can't
Yeah,
have feelings. You can't act human.
yeah. So I'm like, I feel safe. So she literally admits that her friends are mad at her for the fact she has it. She said, well, I came from the South when I was in the military and blah, blah, blah. It's like a Southern thing. And I'm just like, you do what you want, but,
Not a southern thing. It's a racist
there's
thing.
some stuff about the flag. And I just kind of left it at that, but
Yeah.
just the fact, and that wasn't the first time I've seen someone that I had to go to their house with the Confederate flag. I've dealt with that numerous times. I'm just like, wow, like people are just so ignorant and stupid. Like, The fact that people are still defending that damn flag saying it's Southern pride just proves they don't know anything, that they still have a lot to learn, which is another problem because
It's
that
unbelievable.
that's why racism still exists. It's based off of ignorance and stupid things that people try to brainwash you with, saying the black people are this negative thing or that negative thing. I'm not going to say it because I'm not going to put power to those words,
Right.
but you
I
already
read
know what
the book.
a lot of the racists say. So it's just very unfortunate with the job, all sorts of
This
the
is
stress that I had to deal with.
imagine what he had to, what he's gone through, and he finally got out. And I know you got to actually get up early in the morning, so I don't want to keep you too long and be like, because
Yeah.
he has a new job, and he hung in there, and he didn't have recourse, and
So
he
I'll kind of fast forward a bit. So I, this is while I was still at this job, I finally get because it was all through emails for the job that I'm at now, which is kind of cool, I guess, because it gave me time to be able to respond rather than, oh, gotta wait for this phone call, pull over on the road real quick. And mostly through emails. I think I called someone like maybe once or twice. That was about it. But it's like, hey, if the one email said, if you call me today, I'll be able to process you and get you this job. I'm like, all right, I better get on this right now. I got to get the hell out of this job. So he's like, congratulations, you're now a member of this job and so on and so forth. I'm like, all right, great, cool. So I was thinking to myself, how am I going to do this? Because there's no way. I was really talking to people. I've even talked to Kim about this because I called her because we still talk and everything. I was like, should I give my 2 weeks notice or should I just leave? She's like, I don't, it's up to you and so on and so forth. And I really thought about it.
after how they
And,
treated you.
and I was like, you know what? Because I talked to my one friend. He's like, you don't want to burn your bridge and all that. I'm like, I understand that, but still. And then I thought about it. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't want to burn a bridge. They burned the bridge. I'm sitting there trying to create bridges, trying to help people out, and no one wants to hear it. And they're burning my bridge by not being supportive of the fact that people are hella racist towards me and everything all the damn time. But then you
They
have the
just allowed
goofy
it to
stuff.
happen. They let it happen.
Yeah, but then you have the goofy stuff like, you're gonna sit there and write me up, not tell me exactly what I said or who it was, but your option select, like I like to tell people, I like video games and the fighting games is basically a situation where you cover more than one option. So basically their option select was, oh well, you're gonna retaliate. That's to cover up the fact that they're on team white supremacy. And then they're like, is there anything we can do for you? I
You're the
said,
victim. You're the victim, and they treat
because
you like
because
you're.
now that I'm out there, I don't even care because her name was Heather. I'm like, Heather, there is nothing you can do as a center manager. Because this story, I will just go into it real fast. She wanted to kick me out early because she doesn't want anyone to get overtime. And I said, Heather, is there anything going on? No. Heather, what about that tank I dropped up to the hospital? That's a setup, right? Yes, but they haven't called back. I'm like, all right. I get a call back from the hospital, get all the information. I'm frustrated. Then she calls. I explain to her that they called. She's like, really? I'm like, yep. Go out, do the setup. The patient ends up falling over. I had to lift him up, deadlift him up by myself. Fast forward, talk to his wife. I'm like, hey, you should probably take him back to the hospital. He's not doing very good at all. I was very upset. Didn't know what was going on. So fast forward again, as you can see, it's like super quick story. There's more, but I'm not really going to go into everything because it's not what this segment, this video is about. But just to show why I don't care about the boss. So I tell her Monday after the meeting, yes, I do have something to say, and it's not good because she's like, any questions, comments, concerns, good or bad? I'm like, the fact that number one, you said nothing was going on. They called me about the setup. She's like, right, but they didn't call. I'm like, right, but I told you about the tank and that, that setup's probably going to happen. I didn't have any information. Then I'd like to file a complaint. She's like, why? I'd like to file a complaint against the hospital because they send out patients that number one, they don't know how to use the tank. The hospital, if we're not there, but due to it being coronavirus, we're not supposed to go in. They're supposed to educate them how to use the tank so they can get home safely with enough oxygen, so on and so forth. She goes, you want to file a complaint against the case manager? Yes, Heather. She goes, everyone else can leave. We'll talk. She basically said, it's a moot point. We did everything we could. I'm like, Heather, that's bullshit. Like, are you serious? The guy, I literally thought he was going to die. He was on the ground and everything. He wasn't responding. Nope, it's a moot point. We did what we could. I
They're so
stormed out of there.
unsupportive.
I'm like, this is fucking bullshit.
They were so unsupportive of you.
So they had a meeting with me. Yeah, they had a meeting with me again. Oh, well, we just wanted to make sure everything was okay and blah, blah, blah. You seem upset. Yeah, you did.
No.
I'm like, yeah, I'm upset because I told him, her boss, the story. And then basically he forced her to call the hospital to see what was going on. I'm like, why does it take your boss to do for you to do your job? I'm like, this is so stupid.
This is
So
the whole
I was
company
just
has to
upset.
crack
I'm
up.
like, I have to get out of here because not only is it dealing with the racism, but then like you literally see someone in front of your eyes like literally dying. You're like, yo, can we make some calls? Some I understand I'm not the boss. I'm not trying to ruin
Yeah, they didn't care.
relations, but it's like
You
she
actually
didn't
care
even
about
give
the
a
clients.
damn. Yeah. So then it was the last. This was like the final straw of why I left this place. So I know a lot of people deal with different jobs. You have safety protocols, all that. Now, when you're on the road and you're making these deliveries going to people's houses, one of the number one things is if there's a dog out there, you're really not supposed to get out. You're supposed to call ahead, make sure they put the dogs away, so on and so forth. Well, I didn't know that they had a dog. I probably should have called, but it is what it is. The fact was, I got there because it said she needed stuff that the hospital took from her to be able to use the tanks. So I was gonna call because I saw a dog. It was unleashed. I'm like, I'm not getting out of here because I know they don't give a damn about me at all. So I'm not getting out there, risk getting bitten. Make a call. Well, no service. Good old Maine. No reception. No nothing like that. Great. So what I'll do is I'll go to the next stop. If I have reception, I will call then. The boss calls saying something about a patient. Wants to know if I swung by already or not. I'm like, nope, I haven't. Then I told her about the other one I just came from. She
Mhm.
goes, so you want me to call? Yes. Are you sure? Yes, that would be very helpful. Please give them a call. So have them to put the dog away because I
That's
tried
so
to call
good.
them. Yeah, like just basic common sense stuff, but
Mhm.
common sense ain't so common with her. But anyway, fast forward. Then she sends out a group text talking about Jordan. They said you went to the house and didn't go up to the door. Dot dot dot, as if she's disappointed. Then she goes, also they said the dog's friendly. I'm like, right, but I'm following safety protocol and I didn't have any
Absolutely.
service to be able to call. And I think she sent another message. I was just so ticked off. I'm like, I'm not responding to this woman. She's so stupid and
Was
very
she publicly
incompetent.
humiliating you? Like putting it on a
That's how I felt. I got super pissed off. So basically, I came back to the office. Now I don't know about other people, but I basically stopped doing this because I learned real quick just how stupid people are, and just I don't know. For lack of better words, like they like to cause drama, basically, how dramatic people can be.
Mhm.
So I just went back. I told the supervisor, I'm like, well, nice to know my safety is not a priority because she sent the text talking about they said the dog's friendly and all that. I'm like, the dog's jumping around.
Yeah, just
Dogs
go
are
for
very
it, Jordan. See what
Yeah,
happens.
dogs are very unpredictable. So I'm not going to get out my van and then if I'm wrong, what's she going to do? She's going to do her option select, which is, well, why'd you get off the van? Why didn't you call? What? See?
Good win.
See, they play these games and they try to act like they don't know what they're talking about or what we're talking about. And then it's just the same old song and dance, basically.
They really
So
did
I
you in
was
there.
really done after that. So she has a meeting with me the next day because I told the supervisor and the other guy how I felt. I'm like, well, I tried to call, but there was no reception. And then she sends that text and all that. I was just very upset. I'm like, wow, nice to know my safety is a priority. She's talking about, well, we don't need you backtracking this and that. That goes into that money thing. She doesn't want me to make money. So, if I have to take extra time to get back there, that means I'm going to get more hours. She don't like that. I'm like, whatever. So she has a meeting with me. Well, I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page, communication, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, what's going on? Well, the other day, I do care about your safety and this and that, but it's just that I just wanted to make sure that you understood that I do care about your safety and everything. And then I just, you know, I just miss the old Jordan. He used to come into the office, talk to people, blah, 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 blah. You just seem unhappy. I'm like, well, I am because I'm trying to fix things. I have all sorts of things going on all the time. And then the fact that I get written up and you guys won't even tell me what I said or whatever. She goes, well, just don't have a personal matters conversation. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I have to get out of this place. This
Yeah,
woman is stupid.
yeah.
So she gets into all this stuff and I'm just like, whatever. Like at this point, I was like, I give up. Like I'm done. I'm done caring
Mhm.
because when I care, things just go down the drain.
You're
Things
trying to
get
do the
worse.
upstanding thing, and
Yeah.
they
And I've
are
always been like that, but
understanding.
I was just mentally exhausted, physically
I'm so
exhausted.
happy you
I'm
got.
like, I don't even want to be here anymore.
You're
Like it's
triggering the audience, you know. Like my friend
yeah,
Eugene's like, I can think of 40 more stories from just listening. It's crazy. I
yeah,
just so happy that you're willing to share your story and you got out and you are such a class act
yeah,
with people who really honestly do not deserve the time of day from you, but you have integrity, and
Well, I'm never going back there. That is not happening.
that is horrible.
They
I
can
don't,
say we'll sign you on $10 million bonus. No,
no,
I'll
it's
take the ten
no,
million dollars and leave.
yeah,
I will never work there again.
yeah, no, they,
So the I guess the victory lap dance, whatever you want to call it. So basically, after they said, okay, this is your orientation date for the new job, blah blah blah. It was going to be Monday, 29th of March. I'm like, great. How am I going to do this? 2 weeks notice, I'm gonna leave. I'm like, if they're saying my orientation is on this one date, I'm thinking, I'm like, no, I'm not burning no bridges. They burnt the damn bridge to me. Because I've always reached out to people. I've always told her, hey, Heather, this is going on. Heather, this is what this one
you did
patient said.
everything right, and they said,
Yeah.
let me just put it.
Hmm.
Put it succinctly, because
Yeah.
I went through this with you,
Hmm.
and yeah,
So
it's
basically, I was like, you know what? Screw that. They ain't getting no 2 week notice. I'm a 1 second their ass. I'm gonna say I quit. Here's a piece of paper. I still have it to this day. And thanks for the opportunity because I do appreciate it. It's not like I'm not appreciative of the fact I got the job. It's definitely helped me a ton with being able to make some money and so on and so forth, especially during the coronavirus. Because some people lost their jobs temporarily, then
right,
kind of
right.
sort of got it back, or now they're mostly at home, which I can't imagine
Well, people
doing.
that you should be thankful, not if you're being tormented.
Exactly,
Sorry,
exactly.
you have
So
human rights still.
I was like, all right, cool. I got all my stuff. I got all the clothes. I'm not gonna lie. I kept the one jacket. I just have to scratch off the company logo. I'm like, screw that. It took them over a year plus to get me the jacket and all that. I'm like, I'm keeping that. They can go screw themselves. That's what they
And
get
it'll
for
live.
not caring about me and all the stuff I went through. So I grab all the stuff. I have my letter of resignation and all that stuff. I get there. They're all surprised, like, "Hey, Jordan, we've never seen your casual clothes." I'm like, "Yeah," because she was about to leave. I was like, "Oh, this is perfect." She's gonna be so salty. I don't even care. You got a minute, Heather? Yeah. Close the door. I don't know how to put this, but I quit. I showed her a piece of paper. I said, "Thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it." I put the clothes on the desk back there in the garage. Here's the one set of keys. Here's a
That must have
tablet.
felt pretty damn good at that
I
point.
did. Here's the cell phone. Because I don't trust her, I did video, not video. I audio recorded just in case. She hasn't done anything, but
Mhm.
I'm keeping it anyway as backup, so she can't
Absolutely.
say, "Oh, he stormed out and this and that," because you never know some of these white supremacists. But anyway,
Well, I mean,
so
that's what they're capable of, and you know
yeah,
what?
exactly. The fact that, and I still think they made it up talking about I had a personal mass conversation and they won't list who it was. I'm like, that makes no sense. So I was already suspicious of that anyway. So I was like, would you mind if I show you the key? She's like, I trust you. I'm like, right, I understand that, but would you mind if I go with you to the garage, show you the keys and everything else? She goes, okay, I'll be with you in a second. Okay, she gets up, we go to the garage. I'm like, here's the second key. Showed her that it worked for the van, showed her the clothes. I'm like, that's it. Is there anything else you need? She was just like silent. She goes, nope. You could tell she was confused slash pissed off. And I was like, all right, just in case she tried to say, oh, well, he was just doing whatever he wanted. I'm like, would you mind if I go back into the office just to say goodbye to people? The guy Dave wasn't there. I was like, screw him. Didn't want to talk to him anyway. The other guy wasn't there. I didn't
You're
like him.
great. I was like,
By the way, the other guy I forgot to mention, he was a Trump supporter, like full on. He looked like one of those type of people that, like, literally his lawn. I didn't know it until he joined us at the job a few months ago. His lawn is full of Trump supporter flags, banners, everything. Like it was just disgusting. He has like 20 to 30 plus Trump, Trump, Trump
that's
all over his yard.
terrifying.
You can barely see his yard basically. And he, I'm just glad I'm out of there. He tried to send me a friend request and everything. I'm like, nope, D9. Like, get the hell out of here.
I'm just so glad you're
So
out too. I really am, and uh,
yeah,
I I'm just, I wanted everyone to hear you tell about what your experience was, because I know you keep it so real, and I appreciate that very much.
yeah,
And you're not afraid to show like your emotions, and you're not afraid to be human. And I love that, because you are human, and you should be able to be you. And
yeah,
what they did to you was horrific. And I don't care if it was out of ignorance, or just, white supremacy, or it doesn't matter why. They were absolutely horrific to you, and you don't deserve it. You're a wonderful human being. And I wanted people to hear your story. First, I want white folks to hear it because I
Yeah.
want them to know the extent. If you listen to his story, your job is like I can't be going there and feeling like the stress like that every second. And then for other people, I want them to see an example of a really brave guy who hung in there and it's just like God. I was so happy you got out.
Yeah,
I
me
feel
too. Oh my
so
God.
proud of you for
I
the job.
feel better too. Like I don't feel like that same exact thing. Now, some people will say, well, I got out of a situation. Now I'm going back to the way it used to be, try to be ignorant and stuff. Nope. Now, because I understand and went through all that stuff, now I keep my eyes open. I look for the signs. I listen to what people are saying, the coded language and all that. So you can thank the racists later for the fact that now I'm more aware of all that stuff and I
Oh,
keep
there's
my
so
eyes and
much.
ears open. I don't just let any old people into my circle anymore because I'm like, wait a
Right.
minute, you're saying
And
all this craziness.
that's so
Why the
sad.
hell am I
You
gonna
have to be
let you
fine.
into my
Yeah.
bubble? Like what? That doesn't make any damn sense. So
It's
yeah,
so
I'm
unfair.
very
It's
grateful.
so unfair. And you know what? A lot of people are saying, think they're really relating to you. I don't know if you can see the feed. They're absolutely relating because it's like, my God, it's not fair. It's not right. Enough is enough already. I mean,
Yeah.
treating someone so poorly like that.
So I don't know. I'll do it real quick because I do have to get off. So probably another 10 minutes or so, and then I do have to leave. So if somebody wanted to call in and say
Yeah,
something or
take
whatever,
your
that'd
time.
be fine. I definitely don't mind that at all. I
Yeah, and
know
then when
they
you got to
had
run,
the
go
number
for
and
it. And I'll keep
yeah,
taking calls. If there's anyone here listening who would like to call in and tell a little bit about their story, their experience with this. Um, Jordan's come full circle. He was, he really didn't have to experience this kind of thing as much when he was younger. And then he moved a couple of states over, and my God, I'm hearing a lot of people, saying that they want to become entrepreneurs
yeah,
because it's like you got to be your own boss. You don't. This is just unacceptable. Um, I imagine very, very few bosses have any training whatsoever in this. And that's something I personally would love to be a part of changing. I would love that.
yeah,
Um, you know, because that is not right. So it's just not right. It's it's real. Oh, thank you for thank you for putting, did you put the number up there?
yeah. I
Thank
did
you.
just
Yeah.
in
So,
case.
yeah, I had it way up above. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll grab it again. Oh, there we go. We got somebody. Hello, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling.
Hey, this is T.
Hey,
T. Thank you for calling.
Hey,
What's
I'm
going
just calling because I really connected with what Jordan was saying. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, I'm about 80% sure that's what I'm experiencing
right now?
um,
Right.
at my current job.
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah,
We were under a different boss, but the lady, she's got stage 4 cancer and she had to sell the business. So these other people took over, and I'm one of those people who I have a lot of what do you call it, referrals to my class, and a lot of I get a lot of repeat clients, and so I'm very well known, and the new boss, I'm judged that there's me, and then there's another lady. We both have the same, I guess you would say, position, same type of position. We're both like colleagues,
Mhm.
and she's white, and I've always been the better, I guess you would say, what do you call it? Worker, or what do you call it? What, I can't think of the term. It's late and my mind is gone.
Oh,
Yeah, worker, whatever you say,
yeah.
whatever you want to say. And so I've always gotten good reviews and everything, no problem. Well, this lady here, like, she judges me so harshly, and it's very obvious that she favors the other lady, and Even there was a time when she was like, oh yeah, I think I told you about this, the whole Dr. Seuss thing. And she was like, did you know? Oh, and by the way, I'm teaching pre-K. So I'm a certified teacher
Right.
teaching pre-K in my students. So that's what it was. So she said, do you know that Dr. Seuss was racist? I was like, and I mean, everybody's racist. I mean,
All right, yeah.
supposed
Yeah.
to do? Say,
Uh-huh.
so you telling me that you don't want me to do anything, Doctor? I mean, why would you say that? And she goes, she kind of like will say little different things like, yeah,
What's she
I
trying
got
to
my hair
say?
in braids before, and my best friend is black, and I'm like,
Oh, here we go. That passcode. There you go. Yep.
I really don't, I, I I have no desire to talk about that. Like, I just want to be myself.
She's trying to
Do what I
relate
gotta
to you
do.
somehow, or like
Trying to relate or trying to.
yeah.
I think what it is trying to prove that she's not racist by actually
But she is.
displaying white fragility.
Yep. That's exactly
Yeah,
what it
that's it.
is.
That's how it comes off to me. And so now everything that happens, it's like she tries to like randomly pick me. Let me see your lesson plans. And I'm like, but my stuff is always excellent. You're not gonna, like, one time we were doing a special activity, so I changed some things up.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of was like, oh, you got caught. And I was like, what are you talking about? It was a special week. We were doing something different.
You're allowed to do that. I'm a teacher. You're allowed to change things up.
Right.
Damn.
I deviated from the typical thing. I'm like, I've been doing this 20-something years. I know what to do. Why are you coming to me making it look like I'm, one of those people, those teachers that doesn't know how to do the right thing?
What?
That's not me. Everybody down here knows that. So, she thought that she got me or caught me. And I was like, okay, whatever. So now I already, after that, I said, okay, now I know I always got to be on point. Because at any moment she's going to try to get me. So I've always been ahead of her. And it's just so funny how, well, it's not funny, but I would say interesting how she thinks that, she's supposed to be, even, I guess I'll say this, one of the child care teachers was doing some inappropriate things, like really yelling at the children, that kind of brought her. You might want to, and she said, well, since she's your peer, maybe you should talk to her. And I'm like, what? First of all,
that's a setup.
My peer. I'm a certified teacher. I'm at a different status.
She's not my peer.
Yeah.
Anybody, but I don't know the girl, and you're the boss. So when she doesn't, what she does is she comes and sabotages everything I do, and then she will be like, okay, now you gotta clean it up. When something goes down, something bad goes down. And she doesn't realize that everything that's, well, maybe she does realize that everything that is happening that's bad, that's showing a negative, giving a negative look on the place, on the business, is because of her.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's funny because people have been coming up to the business saying my name, and she doesn't know what to do. I mean, she's so salty. It's like she doesn't even know how to respond. I'm like,
and that's exactly how it is. I guarantee you, it's the same thing with me. Like, sorry to cut you off, but like basically they're probably saying the same thing with me. What happened to that guy?
Sabotage me and
she can't hear you.
Get me caught up. And I've heard her tell people like, oh, so and so, like the people who are above our program that come and check on us. They say, you still there?
Yeah.
Can you hear him, T?
Sorry. I hear you. The people that
I think she hears you.
They'll come in and say different things, like oh, she's doing such a great job and she's excellent in this and that, and everything that she's doing we love. And she'll tell the other people, don't tell her they said that. And I'm like, what the
wow.
Don't you want to encourage me?
Sounds about right.
So that's what I'm going through. Well, little does she know, or she might know, because I put it out there. It's all on the internet now. But I went and started my own business. I'm very smart.
Good for you.
Minded, and I've had these ideas for years. And I was like, now's the time. And there are other things going on that I just don't like, that I'm that I see going on in the business that I feel like the families don't deserve. So I'm really passionate about that. So I have been like doing a lot of that. And so she's gonna be salty when I walk out the door, and all those families are gonna be mad because I have people in line now waiting years to come to my class.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I bet.
So
I bet.
I am. I feel like, I guess that's. I don't know. I mean, I feel like, is that racism? It comes off to me like it probably is, but sometimes I just can't readily see it because I just was not really around that. I mean, I was just raised around a lot of different people, and I didn't really notice it until I moved to a different state. I'm in Georgia now, and I'm from Pennsylvania, and I
Oh
just did
wow,
not go through
That's
that.
that's a bit of a travel.
Pennsylvania. I just
yeah.
didn't. Not to say that it wasn't there, but the town that I grew up in was very mixed,
Yeah.
Yep.
And T, that if you,
and so
I don't know if you can hear me, if I could jump in, that's the thing that we want this white folks to understand is like, this is all, well, they have plausible deniability always. Oh, what, huh, me? I mean, it's the gaslighting is real, with what? Oh, it's hard to tell, definitively prove it, show what that person's thinking. Well, you know what? You can't. But what you can do is see a pattern so many times. And you know what? It is. And that's the hard part. Because we white folks, we know how to keep our plausible deniability, and it's nasty. It's nasty.
yeah,
You got to go with what you feel, and if you believe it probably is. I'm so happy that you
yes.
started your own. Did you want to, Jordan? Did you want to say something? Because I know she didn't hear you trying to say something.
Oh no, I agree 100% because I'm also from Pennsylvania. I was there for about 15 years, and then it's like you said, you went from PA to Georgia. I went from PA to Maine. There you go, same thing, same exact thing, copy and paste, dealing with all sorts of craziness, people trying to set you up, do this, do that. So I can relate 100%. So
Can you hear him? T.
No, no, I don't hear him. I'm looking at him talking.
Yeah, he's telling you. He's saying, I don't know why. You can't hear him. I'm so sorry. He's what he's saying. I'll just. He's saying he absolutely gets what you're saying because he also went from Pennsylvania to Maine, and it was like, damn. All of a sudden, like he's getting stuff he's never really dealt with before, and it's very, very real. And so
Right.
he gets it. He gets what you're saying. Yeah, I guess she can't hear you. I don't
And
know
I'm
why.
just like, why,
yeah,
why are you? What is the big deal? Like, why all of a sudden, don't you want somebody like me at your business to help make it awesome? Like, why?
Absolutely right.
What is the deal here?
I'm so
Like,
happy
I
you
don't get
know
it,
your worth. You know your worth. That makes me so happy because you're such a sweet person. And God, I'd be thrilled to have my kid in your class. I bet they're lining up because they want you.
Shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had siblings and everything. I mean, they're like,
Right.
oh no, my kid in your class. Like they're already.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's what we
And
do when there's a good
just like,
teacher.
I'm hoping. I don't know if I'll be. I'm thinking in the back of my mind at this point. I don't know if I'll still be there with the way they're acting, but
You can't take the abuse. It's not right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I learned to, I learned to I had to do what I had to do.
Yeah. You got to take care of you.
Yeah.
Even though you're great with the kids. Hey. Good. Well, I appreciate you.
Well, I know somebody else wanted to call in.
Appreciate you calling into. You're wonderful.
yeah, thank you.
I'm so sorry for your experience that lady is like that. That's just a horrible thing. But you're such a sweetheart. You're gonna do great in whatever. I want to talk to you maybe like later on, like this week, and I want to hear what your business is. So
yeah, I'll try to call you. I'll try to get in touch.
I love that.
It's always something going on, but I'll try to get in touch. But I know I see somebody like Eugene or somebody wanted to call, so I will hang up so he can get a chance to call in.
Thanks, T. Thank you for sharing your story. Right. Hang in there. You're wonderful.
Thanks,
all right. Bye-bye. For some reason, she wasn't able to hear you.
Yeah, it's weird.
That. Can you wait for one more? Or do you need to take off? Because I don't want to.
I'll wait for one more.
Okay, maybe Eugene will call. She's we got this thing going where it's so psychological, you know? It's, oh, Harper says, I'm from Pennsylvania. I grew up in an Italian neighborhood. Racism is a badge of honor for them. I escaped in 1992 knowing I would never go back. Ah, there we go. Hey there, welcome to the call-in. Thanks for calling.
Hey, what's up? How y'all doing?
Hey, what's going on?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, I sat back, I listened to Jordan, I listened to you, I listened to T, and I said when you guys first started, I had only about 25 stories, but I didn't talk about 40 more.
Good. Good.
Like,
expose these racists, man.
It's never ending. And it's
Yep.
We all have problems, right? And I'm smart enough to know all white people aren't racist. And, you know, there are some black people who haven't had much of an encounter with white people. But for some black people, their encounters with white people weren't pleasant. So, I mean, I know people personally who don't feel comfortable around white people. I mean, I understand it.
I don't blame them one bit.
But, you know, it's mentally draining because this stuff is nonstop. And as we can see with Breonna Taylor, we don't even have to be awake.
Yep.
But let me get on topic recently, because, you know, for the longest I've been trying to find work with this corona, and I finally found work like 3 months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm excited, I'm happy. And I knew right there when I started, stuff was going to be crazy, because like I told you earlier, I shared an office with a woman who's pretty much a Karen.
Uh-oh.
And
tell us more about this Karen.
She's very unprofessional. She's been with the company for 20 years. So, you know, when somebody's been working somewhere that long, they pretty much have status. And, you know, here I am, a new guy coming in, trying to learn, get my feet wet. And she seems miserable. You know, I found out why, because she was dealing with both sides of the company. Like you had the residential side, the commercial side. She said for 2.5 years, she was doing both. So on that aspect, that's a lot for anybody. I get that. But that's still no reason to be unprofessional and rude to people.
Yep.
But, you know, they wanted her to help train me. And I knew I was pretty much screwed, because I'm the type of person, like, I'll listen to what you're saying, but I'm very hands-on. Mm-hmm. And I would ask her, do I need to take notes or anything? She's like, oh, you know, you don't need to take any notes. I mean, I still would take notes anyway. Mm-hmm. But she would always go so fast. It's like she didn't want me to learn the job. I kind of felt she wanted me out of there. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I want to say about 3 weeks after I started, because they sent me out of town for a week of training somewhere else at another location, but they still wanted her to train me. And I get back, and she's just still bitter, still negative. And it got to the point, an article came up, because I was sitting in my office, or our office, on lunch break, and I would sometimes look at news articles on my phone and talk about the January 6th thing, like Jordan was saying. Mm-hmm. There was something else that happened, like the 2 guys or the 2 cops that got ran over by some guy. Mm-hmm. And I kind of said it out loud, but I didn't really say much on it. I was just like, oh, I didn't say anything about race or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And she says, can I ask you a question? I said, sure. She's like, do you think only Black people get discriminated against?
Oh, geez.
Well, here we go. Here we go.
Yeah, and I didn't say anything about racism or
my God,
slavery or none of that. I just left it at that. But I said, no, I mean, a lot of people can get discriminated against. It doesn't have to be color or race. And then she proceeded to say, oh, well, you know, white people were slaves too.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's all you have to say. That's all you have to say. She's being deflective as hell right now.
White women. And I just, at that point, I mean, I'm
wow.
But it threw me off, because I've never had anybody say that to me before. So I'm just sitting back. I guess she's trying to educate me, like you were saying to Jordan earlier.
She's going to teach
you.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. So I had to gather myself because I'm trying to keep it professional. You know, the situation, I was out of work for so long. So I'm like, I need this job, I need this money.
Right. You have to
Yep.
work.
Constantly, it's like we find ourselves in situations where we always have to remain professional. Even if people are like tempting us.
Yeah, she can do whatever she wants.
Yeah, yep. They can say what they want, but we just gotta sit there and take it. That's exactly right.
This woman, put it like this. We worked in a warehouse. So when the techs would come and they need parts, either one of us would get them for them. It's to the point this woman's so lazy she wouldn't want to walk the parts over to the tech. She'll toss them at them. And if they don't catch them, they'll either hit the floor, hit the wall, hit the table. And she's like, oh, well, if you're going to work here, you need to learn how to catch. And I'm sitting there thinking,
what?
Playing when these guys come back later with parts that don't work.
Yeah.
They're not designed to be tossed like footballs and hit the floor, hit the wall. Wow. And I mean, she's very unprofessional with her boss, but the key is her boss and her known each other for 21 years. So they let her get away with this stuff. Now, I'm not sure if they knew about the stuff, the unprofessional racial talk, because there's more to that. I'll get right back to that in a second. But it's just like she feels so comfortable that she can get away with anything.
She's running the show there, huh?
Right. And then a couple weeks later, or a week later, the rapper DMS passes away. I'm sitting at my computer typing, checking emails, and she says it out loud. And she's like, "Who's that?" And I said, "Oh, you don't know who that is?" I said, "You remember the song, Y'all Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind Up and Hit?" And she's like, "No." I'm like, "How do you listen to rap? You don't know who that is." Computer. DMX sold 20.
Yeah.
She's like, "He can't be that well known. You only 22 million records." I said, "That's a lot of records."
Yeah.
"How many have you sold?" And she said, "None." And I'm like, record sales aren't everything. I said, real fans know who he is.
What is she trying to do?
Around that time, right?
What is her point? That's weird.
Downloading music. People started downloading music where they wouldn't have to buy the record. They just pick whatever songs they like. But I mean, still sell that many records is amazing. And then she hits me with, she's like, "I highly doubt the man in Africa knows who he is."
Wow.
Wow.
And I took my glasses off. I was really ready to snap, but I had to catch myself. But it's like, what does that have to do with anything? I said, there are nations that are well developed in Africa that know everything that goes on in the world. I said, yes, there are countries that are poor over there.
They read the news.
Propaganda.
A lot of movies, they only show the poor parts of Africa.
Propaganda.
You don't believe this, Eugene? I'm doing a video on it. It's one of my next videos. I'm showing all the beautiful parts of Africa, and to say, guess where this is? But go ahead. Sorry, I'm blabbing. Dang.
Oh no, that's fine.
Dang.
But see, that's the thing. The media, they'll show the poor parts, but there are parts over there that are highly developed. Parts of South Africa, parts of Kenya, parts of Ethiopia, even, and vice versa. Yeah. And it's like, after that, she typed in some artist, a white artist from like the 70s. I forgot the guy's name, but he sold over 100 million records. And then she started comparing, like, well, he sold more records, so this guy's better. And I'm like, I didn't say about anything being better than anybody.
What is she trying to do?
So
that's so weird.
There's more. She types in, she said that. And I said, well, Michael Jackson sold more. And then she's like, well, Elvis sold more than Michael Jackson. I'm like, so what are you trying to say? The white people that sold more records are better than people? I said, Michael Jackson, you can't say he's not well known, because whether you like him or not, most people know who he is.
Yeah.
You know.
They literally televised his funeral.
By comparisons, this and that. And so I finally had enough. I go talk to my supervisor, because with an issue like this, is very touchy, it's very emotional, it's very sensitive. Even though companies have these policies that are supposed to protect you when you report things, that's not always true, especially if you live in a right to work state. But I told them everything that was said, and it's been happening since I started. And I noticed a change in my bosses. Like, they listened to what I said, but I kind of felt they switched up on me because of what I reported. I told him everything I just told you, and then some. There's a lot more, but I'm not trying to have everybody on the phone for 45 days.
You were cracking me up saying, I think
But-
he's thought of another one. I thought of another one.
And, you know, when I got off the phone, so I talked to my boss and his bosses, you know, they gave me the rest of the week off with pay. I need to get away from this one. I just need time away. Because we were supposed to be moving locations anyway. So, as soon as I get back in the office with her, after I get off the phone with her, because I went outside to get away from her, she plays music all the time. The song Baby Got Back is coming on. And you know how the start of the song, oh my God, Becky, look at her butt, it's so big, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And she ends it with, she's just so black. I'm sitting there quiet, and she says, well, this day and age, you can't say that. That'll cause trouble.
What?
I'm not,
Yeah,
Oh my God.
Here she goes. Kim, I swear she wanted like a reaction out of me.
Yep, she's trying.
And
Oh,
I
she's
wasn't
trying
gonna give
to,
her that.
yeah.
And it's like, to know that a company that would allow a person like that to be there for so long, even aside, they probably didn't know about the racial stuff because it was just me and her in the office.
Right. Like some white people, you never know until it comes out when you're just two white people. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So you're alone, and it's pretty much your word against theirs. She knew what she was doing.
Oh, that's horrible.
20 years versus 2.5 months.
She's trying to trigger you and get you
20 years
fired.
will win.
It sounds like she's trying
Yeah.
to trigger you.
But I had another story. This was about maybe 8 or 9 years ago. Went for a job, and I had to take a skills assessment test. I take the test. I go there. I'm well groomed. I'm clean, dressed nice, you know, presentable, like I wanted the job because I did. So I took the test. I made a 96. The lady called my name. She's like, Eugene Dantzler Jr. I get up and walk to the desk, and she looked at me like she saw it go. She's like, you're Eugene? I said, yes, ma'am.
What did she
She's like,
think?
you made a 96. I said, oh. She said, the average score is an 84. She's like, we never had anybody score this high on this test. I said, well, I guess I'm above average then. And I started laughing. She doesn't laugh. So
Why?
we talked about another 5 minutes, and then she hits me with, well, you know, we'll give you a call if the position actually becomes available, blah, 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 blah. I said, wait a minute, I just aced the test. What more do you need? And then she
Here
kind
we
of
go.
for a second.
Wow, suddenly the
Thinking of
position's
something
not
to try to say.
available?
Racist.
Right, after I
Yep.
aced the test.
Wow.
Yep.
And see, this is the thing. There are companies, well, I don't want to say companies, there are people that work for these companies that if your name, like if they look at your resume,
Your name sounds black. They're gonna
you know,
boot you.
oh, that name sounds too black. That name sounds too Hispanic.
Well, there's studies done all the time and it's repeated constantly. 50% less callbacks.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I tell people all the time, I said, with my name has job potential. And people look at me like, what are you talking about? And when I tell them my name, I'm like, yeah, they don't know I'm black until I get to the job interview.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. So they had a little
And
shock there.
It's a shame. It is a shame
Pathetic.
that even is the issue, but it is. If many people want to deny it, I had to tell somebody the other day, I said, maybe because you're not racist. I said, you need to understand something. You're not evil. You don't have all that negativity in you, but there are many people who look like you who do. And I had to tell this person, I said, you forgot about your grandmother, your dad. I said, I wasn't even allowed to come over to your house unless they were both gone. You know, we were kids.
Wow.
So, I mean, and you know, I thought of another story because Jordan said he's in Maine. I met a woman from Maine about 3 years ago. And we were talking, and out of the blue, because we started talking about politics, and that's what I try to avoid, especially, well, right off top. Because when you try to get to know somebody, you know, you want to get to know them. Then
Yeah.
we go to the heavier stuff, but for some reason we ended up on politics.
Mhm.
And then she mentioned that she'd never seen a black person in her life until 2015. And she's, at the time, she was like 35.
There's a lot of people who never have seen
But
a
see-
real live black person in front of them. There are towns. It's unbelievable.
And see, I thought of something else. I typed in earlier where I said the governor of Maine said black.
Yeah, Paul Page. Yep.
Not the new governor. It was the governor.
We have a video on that,
his
Eugene.
name-
We did a video on that.
Yeah, and it's like the fact that there's a or a former governor that would publicly say that black people are the enemies and they deserve to be shot. That's the governor. That's pretty much top dog in your state.
Wait.
Now, I'm not afraid of people, but I'm not in no rush to go to a state with a governor that would say something like that. And it's just like, we're human too. And, you know, people, when we say Black Lives Matter, then people turn around with, well, all lives matter. Okay, well, we wouldn't have to say Black Lives Matter if we were treated as human. Because at a point in time, the U.S. Constitution said we're 3/5 human. So 60%. What's the other 40?
People who say all lives matter are racist as you know what. That's obnoxious.
I'm telling you.
That's an obnoxious thing to say. Really is.
It is, but to know what, because I love history. And when I discovered that in the U.S. Constitution, Black people is only considered 60% human, to this day, nobody can answer me what is the other 40. And then, you know, with the Breonna Taylor situation, that wasn't actually the first time where someone broke in and shot someone while they were asleep. I think the little girl's name was Ayanna. She was only 7. I think she was at her grandmother's house asleep in her room.
Oh, this is absolutely not the first time. Yeah, no.
While she was asleep. So it's like every day is something. We try to get a job, we got to deal with it. Or we get a job, we deal with it. We're at home, we deal with it. We go to the grocery store, we deal with it. We go out to eat. And it's like,
God, that's got to be exhausting.
Yes.
It's exhausting. And you know what? I've never once had a thought of shooting up a school, a church, a movie theater, or a mall.
Go figure.
Because I'm not like that. But yet, some of these people who do this stuff, they're mad because the girl who they really wanted to date rejected them, and then they want to go kill everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, nobody really likes rejection, but that's not a reason to go hurt innocent people.
Right. Yeah. I always like say, you know, the Black folks, I don't speak for Black folks. I never would. That's so arrogant. But most of my friends, they don't want more than what anyone else. They just want some equity. They just want to be treated like an American citizen who matters. And it's like, my God, that's not asking the world. That's in our freaking Constitution. We're all supposed to want liberty and justice for all, for everybody, not just ourselves.
But Kim, the kicker is when the U.S. Constitution was made, but it's about equal liberty and justice for all, we still have people in shackles and chains.
Right. And I know. But the thing is, you know, as evil as so many, not being able to live up to such a an amazing integrity as some of the supposed founding fathers were, at least they knew that times were changing and that their lack of personal integrity and inability to act human, you know, they could talk the talk, but they clearly couldn't walk the walk, and they knew things were changing. And that is why we have amendments. And that is why the people need to get in charge of this country. The people, all the people, not the white people, not the wealthy elite people, but the actual people. And we need to unite, like Michelle Alexander says in her book, The New Jim Crow. That is the biggest fear of the 1%, is that white people open their freaking eyes and realize we've been played the fool. Keep keeping this racism and putting our brothers and sisters who are brown and Black and Indigenous down. It's pathetic because we have been played the fools, and we need to unite.
And I won't.
So
Yeah, thanks for calling in.
He mentioned what Morgan Freeman said.
Ugh,
I've noticed, like white people who are racist, anytime, like what Morgan Freeman said, or like a Candace Owens, anytime a Black person, if they come out and speak on things that they believe in, they love that. Well, they act like they love it on screen or on the phone. But you get behind closed doors. Look at Stacey Dash. Back in 2016, when the elections were going on, she was on Fox News, pretty much had Trump's back, very supportive, loyal. I'll give her that. But then he gets elected. Who gets fired right away from Fox News? Stacey Dash. They just played you. They used you to help get their boy in, and they showed you, oh, you're still black.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't blame anybody for not trusting. I'm white and I don't trust. I've learned, you know, how many centuries do you wait? How many weeks, months, years, just to not get more than what everyone else has, just to have some equity in a nation that boasts liberty and justice for all? You tell me, because I don't even want to wait a minute. And Black Americans have waited forever.
Honestly, I feel that the full change we need is not going to happen in this lifetime. I would love for it to happen. But, you know, another thing, like with the jobs, I notice when I go for the jobs that pay better, where you can actually, you know, get a check and pay bills and have something left to
living
do
wage,
fun stuff or save.
A living wage, yeah.
It's not many people of color in these places. But then if you go to a place where, you know, the job only paying you $9, $10, $11 an hour, oh, we're all up in there. Not saying that Black people don't have these jobs, as we do, but they're hard to get.
Well, because we have systemic racism. And you know what? A law can't change somebody's, like I'm preaching to the choir, a law can't change somebody's heart. And that is, you cannot make a law. We have found ways to circumvent. We have found excuses. We do dog whistles. We do, it's too much. And we remain uneducated. Yeah. And that is the problem. That's all I try to do. That's all I want to do. I'm driven to, if you're going to be like this, at least know the truth about a real racial history. Because if you don't know the truth about a real racial history and you're a white person, then you have no idea what is going on right now in modern day.
And with Facebook, I remember you saying something that they were giving you problems with your page. Like you're not on there being negative and aggressive.
I'm just speaking history, the truth. Yeah, I aggressive. I'm not, I've seen much worse. I'm kicked off for life. So, but that's about me. That's
you're not on there. You're not advocating violence, you know, or anything like that. You're just trying to educate. So see, knowledge is power.
And they know it.
See, when you don't have knowledge, you can be dumbed down. And when they can control you, that's what people love. Now, I'm not trying to control anybody, but knowledge is key. If people gain more knowledge regardless of what it is, they can be more free with themselves.
I'm trying to use my privilege to teach, but they don't want to hear it. They just don't want to hear it. But,
no, but harm a dog, and don't get me wrong, I love dogs too, but harm a dog and people who don't say a thing, they won't shut up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I understand. I mean, I love dogs too. If somebody hurt my dog, I'll be mad too.
Mm-hmm.
But
no, I hear you. I it's disgusting, and I love dogs too. But for the love of God, these are our freaking fellow humans. These are our brothers and sisters, and it's disgusting. It enrages me.
Yeah.
I thought of something else that was kind of actually funny. I don't drink Jack Daniels, but when I found out that the recipe was made by a black man, and I look at a lot of people who drink Jack Daniels. Now, again, everybody's not racist who drinks Jack Daniels, but a lot of redneck people who are racist love Jack Daniels. I told somebody, I said, well, you know, you have all this stuff to say that's bad about black people. I said, that stuff you're drinking right there. I said, a black man made that. Mm-hmm. He's like, bullshit, blah, blah, blah. I said, look it up.
Yep.
He pulled his phone out, Googled it. He couldn't say nothing else to me.
Right. The ignorance is real.
Some of the stuff in it, you use it every day.
Yeah.
I said, we contributed so much to the society, but at a point in time when we didn't know what patents were, people would take our ideas. Oh, that's great, blah, 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 blah. They put their name on it.
Absolutely.
And get the credit. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, there's been atrocities. I mean, God, don't even get me started. But yeah, and I know it's people. This is the way I look at it. I say, take a white person, any white person, no offense intended, and take your average white person and take what you think they do, take what you think they don't know and multiply it by a gazillion, and you might be close. Because there's no system in our lives, in the lives of white people. There's no system that's going to teach us. The school's not going to, our parents aren't going to, our relatives aren't going to, our sports aren't going to, unless that person takes it upon themselves to open their freaking eyes. we go an entire lifetime not even getting this. And it's willful ignorance. It is. It's psychological.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? It kills. And so that is why I feel very strongly that it is way past time that white America takes some racial responsibility and learns the truth, our real racial history, and uses to find their voice so we can stand up for our fellow brothers and sisters. It's not asking the world. But anyway, I got on a rampage. Sorry. It's called being human. I'm sorry, it is.
Yeah.
But,
Thanks for the call.
Thank you for
That's how you know you're onto something good, because Facebook blocked you. You said banned you for life. You were onto something good. And see,
I wish
my U.S. history teacher hated me because I remember Black History Month. I asked her, I said, Mrs. Bells, I said, you know, it's Black History Month. I said, can we learn some more positive history about Black people? I said, we know about the whips and the chains and the cotton fields and all that stuff. I said, but there are positive things we contributed to the society.
Absolutely.
Oh, it's not in the curriculum.
Yeah. You know what? Every day should be Black History Month. Black people have been here since the very beginning of this, the very, very beginning, before this country was even created. And they have been an integral part of everything that is great about this country. And it's pathetic we have to have a Black History Month. Every day should be Black History Day and Black History Month, because these humans have been here all along and have contributed to our nation. So
what a lot of people won't realize, at a point in time, all the continents were united as one called Pangea. Because if you look at the continents, they look like scattered puzzle pieces, right? So Black people we were actually over here before they went to Africa and brought us over on the boat, you know, Christopher Columbus discovered America.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no disrespect to the Native American people. I love everybody. But it's like when I see the memes talking about no one's illegal on stolen land, we were here too.
Yep, facts. Yep, absolutely facts.
Australia. I mean, even Europe. We were everywhere already. But the history books don't want to tell you all of that. A lot of stuff I learned, it wasn't in school.
Right.
It was on my own time.
Yeah.
Whitewashed. It's all whitewashed.
Absolutely.
Or talking to my grandmother, who's about to be 92 this month, because I would go in her room to ask her a question, and somehow that would always turn into a 4 or 5 hour conversation about things she's gone through and endured. And then I compare that to what the school was trying to tell me, and I compare, you know, with her stuff. And I already knew anyway I wasn't getting full deal from the school. Smart. Some people can't handle that because they consider you to be negative, because you know your worth, you know your values, you know the real truth. People don't like that. They want you to be dumbed down so they can just fill your head with whatever, so you believe it, so they can feel smart.
Yeah, this is a really big subject. I think we gotta definitely talk about this again. This is a huge subject, and I was just thinking, Carried Back wants to, boy, Eugene, you're very knowledgeable, and I know you have like a gazillion stories you could tell. Maybe I gotta have you on, you know, to do, because you're really good and you have stories and you seem to really get it. Somebody just, I know Nails and Glitter wants to call in, and somebody wants, Carried Back says she wants to ask you some questions, Jordan.
Okay.
But I know you have to go, so it's like,
yeah, I'll take the questions.
Yeah.
Oh, he's still there. Oh, oops.
No. Eugene, you're amazing. You're wonderful. In fact, if I can just plug a video, I kid you not when I say the video Eugene has on my YouTube channel is one of the best videos I've ever seen, hands down, in my entire life.
Wow.
Okay, so please do check it out. And Carried Back says, unfortunately, I have to go, but you know what? We'll be back again. That's okay.
Yeah.
So you're off the hook. And
sorry, Carrie.
No, it's okay. There's just too much to talk about, and it's all very important. And but seriously, please check out Eugene's video. It's amazing. It's been on there a while, and it's not getting the attention that it really needs to get.
Yeah.
It really is making me mad. But so I guess we should say goodnight to Eugene so we can it's just getting super late. And
yeah.
but we'll get Nails and Glitter. I promise, Nails and Glitter. She, you know, she's probably. And Jean, thank you for your wisdom and for sharing your experience and your truths with us. This is a real tough thing. I'm so sorry about your job too, because I know you just waited and life's so incredible.
I always bounce back, but thank you. I appreciate everybody. Sorry for talking so much.
Not at all. I wish
no problem. No problem.
You're amazing, and we got to talk. I got to get you on the show. You're wonderful, and definitely check out his video.
We'll definitely talk. We'll make it happen.
Okay. Thank you, Eugene. Thank you so much. All right.
All right. Good night. Be safe.
All right. Take care.
You too. Oh my gosh. He's just wonderful. You got to check out his video.
Oh, well.
Man.
But I do have to get going. Yeah. Hopefully we can keep this going some other time for sure.
Yeah, I know. You got to go to bed. You got to get up and go to that new job.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if maybe Nails and Glitter. I got a history reference. So I don't know if Nails and Glitter wants to call in if we might have lost her because but boy, let's get you into bed because I don't want to I got this great job. And I'm like, yeah, come on my show and you know, talk about it until you can't wake up in the morning. But Jordan and I have done a bunch of videos together, and I get the feeling we'll do many more. He's just wonderful and open and such an incredibly nice person. I feel, oh, there it is. We'll see if she's quick, and if she's not, we got to get you out of there. Oh, I think that's her. Hello.
Hello.
Is it her? Is it her?
I don't know if my.
Is this Nails and Glitter? Nails and Glitter?
Signal is hit and miss.
Say it again.
I said sometimes my cell signal is hit or miss, so I just wanted to make sure you guys could hear me before I started rambling.
Nails and Glitter, is this you? Yes.
Yeah.
Yay, it's her. Because Jordan, is this question going to be for Jordan or your comment? Because he has to go to bed because he has to get up in the morning and work.
No. He can go to bed. Okay. I more had a comment.
Okay. Let me say goodnight to him really fast if you don't mind. And
yeah, self-care.
I'm not trying to boot your butt out, but I want to keep you from your work. Jordan, you are just a pleasure, wonderful, and
yeah.
I adore you. And we will have you on many more times. And I'm just so happy you got on. I'm just so pleased.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You did great. You showed us what integrity is and how to be a good person in such horrible circumstances. So I'm like,
all right, you take care.
I'm bowing down to you.
Hey, have a good night.
We'll stay in touch.
Yep.
Great job tonight. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. You're up, Nails and Glitter. Yay. I just had to get him to bed. I had to get him to bed.
It's been a while since I called in.
I know. I'm thrilled you called in. You're probably going to be our last caller because I got to get to bed too. But when I saw you say that, I'm like, oh, yes.
I don't know what's going on because I'm facing off with my kid teacher right now about history too. So it just seemed to.
You're cutting out. We didn't quite hear that. Can you say that again?
My signal's terrible. I said I've been facing off with my kiddos. Okay.
I'm still not quite hearing you. I've been facing off with my kiddo's teacher, and I didn't hear her after that. Oh, we might have a bad connection.
Well, this.
Not able to hear you, Nails and Glitter. I'm sorry. We have dropped the call. Maybe she'll call back and maybe have better connection. We will see. Oh, there she goes. Hopefully. Hey, are you there?
Hey, we're going to try again.
Oh, okay. You just sound better so far.
Okay. I'm not sure if it's like the signal or if it's just like the background noise. Stop with the background noise. Crazy.
I can hear you clearly.
Okay. I just wanted to
says no.
I think there's something in the air because I've been facing off with my kid's teacher over history and them wanting to sanitize it. And I was like, well, you can't ask me about culture without, you know, talking about some not so comfortable things. Hey, I said knock it off. People. Bedtime. So this actually this topic made me think of a book by a woman named Jacqueline Badalora. She's from Chicago and she's a lawyer. And in her legal studies, one of the things that she noticed was that the term white people disappeared out of law. Did I lose you guys? Did I lose the signal?
No, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
You're fine.
Just wasn't sure. So it was like 1690.
Mm-hmm.
British law was changed to create this new class of people. And this was legally designed because there was a rebellion. It was called Bacon's Rebellion.
Mm-hmm.
And it was poor white men teamed up with
Yes, they did.
white indentured servants
Mm-hmm.
who also teamed up with slaves of African descent.
Couldn't
And
have
so
that.
these people had a rebellion, and the way Britain dealt with this was they created a new class of people. So what everybody says when they talk about like, oh, the Irish were slaves too. By the way, I'm mixed with Irish. I got a lot to say about this because the Irish people in my family were not cool with like the racism because they married in a long time ago. So one of the interesting things I've always found about this, and when I stumbled onto this book, it's called Birth of a White Nation by Jacqueline Badalora. What I found really interesting was when they say Irish people were slaves too, right? Or I forget, there was another group of white people that they shipped over in here. That actually was born from slaves of African descent and Irish indentured servants prior to this law change had the same rights. So black slaves were actually treated better prior to the definition of white people. And then this actually goes into the modern day racism that we see of this classism. And this is actually well described in a very long book called White Trash, 400-year untold history of class in America. And so basically by putting black people down in this category, then white people were then happy to just kind of be in that shitty place that they already were in.
Yeah.
And so then they accepted that because they had someone to kick down on.
Well, absolutely. And that's been the theme ever since we invented the word white. It's a good point. Very good point.
Right. So historically, the law was changed to prevent these rebellions, to prevent this uniting. This happened in the late 1600s. And I find it interesting that people on the left still haven't figured out like how they into these systems that we are all indoctrinated.
Well, we don't know our history. That's why.
It's just really interesting because, you know, like there's the blatant racists we see at work, and sometimes we have to deal with them, sometimes we avoid them, sometimes we can't. Sometimes you get another job, you know, there's many ways of dealing with it. But when you have people that proclaim to be your allies and then wind up being more of a problem than the blatant racist, at least the blatant racist tells you who they are. So there's this disconnect between these people that feel righteous in their wokeness and them being just as bad, if not worse, than the obvious one that you can try to avoid.
Yeah, it's definitely.
And it's a really interesting dynamic because nobody's immune from it. Like you can be the most well-intentioned white person and you can be super educated, and guess what? You're still going to fall into those pre-programmed responses, and you're still going to do the wrong thing.
We're indoctrinated.
Sometimes.
Yeah, it's
and
hard.
White people are like so afraid of doing the wrong thing that they don't do anything.
Right. We're basically hypnotized by fear, and it's to the point where we are incapable of taking any action because we're so afraid, because we don't want to be thought of as racist. But in and of itself, that renders us racist because we don't know the words, we don't know the history, we don't know the, how can you not be racist if you don't even know our real racial history and the truth? And you can't talk about it.
Right. And then the person who's trying to help you by like telling you, hey, you're wrong about this, that person often gets it back.
Say it again.
I said the person that's trying to like reach out and help a person understand this often gets attacked, like,
absolutely.
You're accusing me of something I'm not doing,
It's all the fragility and
all the time. And often it's like in the people that proclaim to have the safe spaces, So there is no safe space, I think is like my ultimate point. With all of this. Like there's no safe spaces, and until we actually start getting to that education, we're screwed.
That's what I keep working on. And you know what? Nails and glitter. That's why I always tell the white folks, you are not ever there yet. You cannot proclaim your wokeness. No, 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 no. It is a lifelong.
Yeah, the minute you say how woke journey. You are, it's like, oh, get away from that one.
That's it. That means you quit. You're done. I just did a video on this actually. Stop saying I'm not racist. Stop it. It's just a top 10. Stop saying I'm not racist. So, but yeah,
it's almost like that's the only tell you'll get is like if someone's arrogantly like, oh, I know all this stuff and I'm this educated. Cool. That's really the only warning we get on the other side. So we see these groups of people who like genuinely like want to unite and want to accomplish things and want to do better. And then when you look around, it's like, why are there no Black people in this group? Why are there no Indigenous people in this group? I mean, I know there aren't a lot of Indigenous people, but they're around.
It's a steep learning curve, and we never get there. And it's a fallacy to believe that we do. I mean, it's a toughie. It is a toughie.
Yeah. I'm no longer interested in like joining a group to be the token Black, Indigenous, whatever. Like I'm not interested in being your token POC.
Nope. No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you one bit. Well, I'm going to wrap up tonight's show.
I actually recently turned down a group because it was like, how many Black people do you have? And they were like, none. And I was like, I don't want to grow.
Yeah, no, you don't need the pain. You don't need the pain.
I don't want to be the only Black person in the group.
Well, I'm going to try to wrap up this show tonight, but do you want to say a few more things? I hear your kitties in the background.
Yeah, I know. Just the two books came to mind when we were talking about it. It was Birth of a White Nation, Jacqueline Badalora. And I think you can find some of these for free. And then the other one was White Trash, a 400-year untold history of class in America. Just those two book referrals.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
I think there's something to be said about educating yourself before you try to help other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People are like, oh, I want to help. I want to do this. I want to do that. Maybe start with education.
So, well, that's what I encourage the white folks, because like it's a lifelong venture. So you might as well start now. And I learn something new every day. I kid you not, every single day. And I expect to till the day I die. I'll never be there. And you know what? The way it is, what am I going to do? I didn't build this place. I didn't set this up, but I'm sure as hell not going to sit here and watch. And that's why I encourage every single white person to, you know what? Suck it up, drop your ego, and learn the truth about our real racial history. And then get your ass out there and talk about it till you can't talk anymore. Because this has got to stop. It is not good for us.
That's why I enjoy your show too, because it's like we need to get this information out there.
I just work with beginners.
Even if it's not to a massive group, we need to get it out.
Just keep getting it out. And you know what? One person at a time. I do not care. I can't sit here and just watch. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to be a part of that. And sure, I may not be changing the world, but you know what? I am doing what I have to do to be okay with me. And that is not shut up ever until systemic racism is obliterated out of this country and off this freaking planet. So we got our work cut out for us here. But anyway, thank you so
I don't
much.
know if we'll see it in our lifetime, but if we don't do anything, we'll never see it. So.
Right. And we got to raise kids that break that cycle and that get out there and know how to
argue
talk
with their teachers when they try to teach them bullshit.
damn straight. We got to, you know what? We got to just keep good trouble. Just keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it, like John Lewis says. So thank you so much for your call. Thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate you.
Talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're
I just cut her off. Sorry. She's wonderfully supportive of me personally and of the show and of my channel. And she knows I am passionate about educating white folks about our real racial history. So on that lovely note, I will do one quick plug. If you feel like I do, that it is way past time. Like, don't get me started. For white America to learn our real racial history and start speaking the truth and teaching other white people who might not have created the system, we were born into it, but for the love of God, we're in it now, we see it, we benefit from it, and it's at the expense of our fellow humans. It's not right. It's not right. And I, for one, will never, till the day I die, I can't. I don't do this because, I'm so nice and I'm a martyr. No, hell no. I do this for me because I can't stand watching and doing nothing and living in a society where my fellow humans, my next door neighbors, my friends are treated less than human because of the color of their skin. That's disgusting. And so I do this for me. This is a selfish thing I do. I won't shut up about it. And I really won't. So stuff is sucking it. Thank you all for being here. Thank you so much for being here tonight and for supporting my channel. It feels like I'm not getting anywhere a lot of times. I can't get the people who need to watch the videos and to care and to get involved. But once a week, every Wednesday at 9, I get to talk to people who get it. And people are listening. So don't be jaded like me. I appreciate all your support. I'll say goodnight and don't be a stranger. If you feel like if you feel like I do, that it's way past time for white America to start learning our real racial history and doing all this and teaching others, then please consider subscribing, watching videos. I have quite the array. I have very nice, sweet, darling anti-racism 101 videos. And I have some, thank you, Harper, you're wonderful. And I have some really, really scary rants. If you don't know much about this, you should probably stick to the 101. I got something for everybody. However you learn is however I'm willing to teach. I will meet you. If you don't get this stuff, write to me. The way you can, if you scroll up in this, write to me. I will work with you personally. I will do whatever it takes to help you get this. Because once you start getting this, there's no going back. It's like riding first class. You can never go back. You want to know your real racial history and you will crave the truth. Ronald, thank you so much for being here. You're such a sweetheart. Thank you. And thank you, everybody. You're wonderful. And I'm keeping you up way too late, but it's so worth it. So check out my latest video. I have a big video coming up. It's taken me 2.5 weeks to do. The title is something like, the title is Top 10 Ways Americans Have Been Fooled into Believing. And it's a lot about racism, but it's a lot of different subjects. Top 10 things that we have allowed to happen in our country because we've been fooled. And I hope you like it a ton, and it should be coming out in the next couple of days. So thank you so much for being here. And don't be a stranger. Please write me on my Facebook, which is scroll up, and you'll see it. And everyone, please stay safe. There's a lot going on. All right. I don't want to hear about anything bad happening to my precious friends. All right. I am Legend. Thank you for being here. And Harper and T. Oh my gosh, T, you've been here like so long. Thank you so much to everybody, and especially to my guest tonight. Jordan is just wonderful. So sweet dreams, everybody. And I know I skipped people, and please forgive me. You are all so important to me. All right. I'll shut up now. Good night, everybody. See you next time. Bye.